My dear friends, it's a great pleasure to meet you all again at Shankar IAS Academy. I am thankful to Shankar IAS Academy and also Vaishnavi ma'am for bringing this session to all of you. My dear friends, the Union Budget 2024 and 25, 2024-25 is a very significant budget, and budget as such is very significant for the country. You are all the future administrators and government officials, and who are aspiring to become part of the executive. As you are aspiring to become the part of the executive, you must know that each and every department where you are planning to work or aspiring to work, you may become IAS officer, you may become IPS, you may get into any administration of the department. If you are getting into the central government, then each of the ministry gets the allotment. This allocation of fund happens in the union budget. This is with respect to you being aspirant of the administration, so it is significant to that extent. But being a citizen, at the end of the day, you become administrator for the purpose of serving the citizen of this country. So as a citizen, you should know what are the schemes that the government has brought in, what is the significance of it. So understanding the union budget should not be a one-time phenomena for your examination, but it should be a lifetime goal for every citizen and the aspirants who are sitting here. The purpose of this session is to bring details about the union budget 2024-25. I'm not going to get into the details of economics. That's not economic subject of the budget, but I'm literally going to present the budget to you in a sense where you understand the nuances of the details of the items in the budget. So what could be the marks that could come in the examination? I'm not really aware, but I'm very sure you read India book, India 2020 book, India 2022 book, that book which is published by the government. That book has a lot of contents for examination, whatever the question that they can ask. The India book, wherein they publish every year, the government publishes every year, the official publication of the government, right? That book has details, and that book changes based on the budget that comes every year. So that to understand that book, it is very important to understand the union budget 2024-25. It is not something to do only with the parliament, but it has a wider impact to the larger audience in the country, and especially being a student who are aspiring to get into UPSC, who are writing UPSC examinations or TNPSC, this has a greater impact. My dear friends, you should understand what is the constitutional reference for the union budget that is announced every year. The constitutional reference, you would have seen that I would have brought many books on the table, not to make sure that this lecture becomes boring. It can never be boring in my lifetime. That I brought these books to show you that there is a constitutional reference to the union budget 2024-25. The first question that you have to ask, why is this union budget an annual ritual? Annual ritual. Every time the finance minister comes, presents the budget, so we don't know whether those schemes are implemented or not. But every year there is an annual budget that is presented, not just after the independence, even before the independence. That means this annual ritual, I would say, has some relevance in the government, and how it got evolved over a period of time is a very important fact to be noted. If you see the present Constitution of India, under the present Constitution of India, we have Article 112 of the Constitution of India. Under the Constitution, Article 112 talks about annual financial statement. So most of them here would have come across this article, but you will not know this is for the budget. That's a problem. See, most of the time we know constitution, but we don't know how the constitution is an action in the country. That's a fundamental problem, right? Last time when we discussed about the new criminal law, we highlighted about many of the articles, how it is actually having a relevance for the criminal law, how it is actually getting harmonized. Similar is the case where whenever I have a discussion with aspirants like you, it is my duty to first enlighten you about what is the constitutional mandate and constitutional relevance of whatever the discussion that we do. My dear friends, Article 112 of the Constitution of India provides constitutional mandate with respect to union budget being presented every year by the finance minister. Article 112 is not that we got this article only after we brought the Constitution of India. That means this annual financial statement was a concept that was even there during the British time. So we are all speaking about colonial things to be removed. Colonial things to be removed. Leave alone colonial things. Even the buildings that we operate now, even in Chennai, Ribbon Building, Central Railway Station, all the public utilities. Chennai Railway Station. The identity of Chennai, whenever you see movies, when somebody comes to Chennai, what they show is that Central Station. He has come to Chennai with one bag. That is the basic inspirational movie that you can see. I don't know about Bangalore, how they show. But if you see Bombay, what they do? Mumbai, they show that sea, and suddenly it will be zoomed to boat and to a dawn and gangster, and then they take you. If it is Delhi, then they show the parliament. All these buildings you see. So where is the concept of you removing colonial baggage? It's all there, and the system got evolved. We are happy that we have become a nation from we have our own constitution, but most of these concepts, see, leave alone ideological part. When I'm going to present this budget, look at me from the perspective of someone who is for the Constitution of India. Do not put anything on the right. Do not put anything on the left. Don't even say neutral. Let us see whether it is constitutional. When it is constitutional, it becomes lawful, and then it can be implemented in the country. So every year, the finance minister comes before the parliament with the pages and then starts presenting for at least minimum 85 minutes to 120 minutes. Why is this ritual carried out in the country? It is not because it is the wish and will of the finance minister, but it is a constitutional mandate. It is a constitutional mandate under Article 112 of the Constitution of India. That is what I am trying to drive in the first place. Let us see what are the details later. But I wanted to highlight about the constitutional mandate. This is about annual financial statement. For the purpose of understanding, I would like to highlight exact article to you. I'm not going to discuss about the entire article, but only the opening paragraph. This comes under procedure in financial matters. This comes under the procedure in the financial matters. Under the procedure in the financial matters, Article 112 comes. It says, Article 112, Clause 1. The President shall, in respect of every financial year, the President shall, in respect of every financial year, cause to be laid before both the Houses of Parliament a statement of estimated receipts and expenditure of the Government of India for that year in this part referred to as annual financial statement. Here the reference of President only comes. Where is the reference of Finance Minister? Where is the reference of the Finance Minister? We have three organs of the Constitution of India. We have the legislative, 2 executive, 3 judiciary. Head of the legislative. Who is the head of the legislative? Head of the legislative. Hello? Prime Minister. Head of the executive? President. Head of the judiciary? Chief Justice of India. You are very clear about it, no? You have any doubts about it? No. So you are here, it's a role fixed under Article 112, not just to there is no reference called legislative. There is a reference to the President. That means it is a reference to the executive. So this executive role is exercised by the President only, but it is delegated to the Finance Minister. I hope you can understand. When you get elected, you become the legislator, and then you get moved to executive role, Ministry of Finance. Ministry of Finance. And who is heading the Ministry of Finance? Who got elected and she got appointed as the finance minister, and there is a finance secretary on the executive side. Yes or no? So here is a role of the Ministry of Finance. Very clearly, it is coming under the umbrella of the president. And if you see on the day of budget, let us visualize the drama. What happens? The finance minister comes out from the finance ministry. Earlier, it used to be a suitcase. I don't know what year they manufactured. All that I know, the suitcase will be shown like this. I don't know what is there inside the suitcase. Neither we will know. And it is shown as though we don't know who has the key of the suitcase. But the suitcase used to be shown. Finance minister will come out. He'll get into the car. Go to where? He'll go to the parliament and do, or before that he'll go somewhere else. Rashtrapati Bhavan. Why should he go to Rashtrapati Bhavan? President knew that in the television, no, that the budget is going to be presented. Why is that ritual? Why is that ritual? It is the president. You take it in the notice of the president. Because Article 112 says this. If there is no constitutional mandate that the president is the person, the president shall, in respect of every financial year, cause to be laid before the houses of the parliament. Before it is laid before the house of the parliament, you go and show it to the president and brief. Now the briefing happens for how many hours? Or how many minutes? Hello? You'll understand the budget, huh? Even after going through the budget for hours and hours, still we don't know what is there. Where is the devil in the budget? Yes or no? What is the opportunity in the budget? So it will be like a ritual or a tea or a coffee. And where the finance minister will go and say, I'm giving you an exact picture. Go and say, this is the budget I'm presenting. Probably if you are a president, you can also become a president. Anybody here can become president. Anybody can become a finance minister. But not that everybody can become an IAS officer. You need to write the examination and pass. Can you become an IAS officer? You can enter IAS at the age of 55. Not possible. But can you become a legislator at 55? What is the only tool for legislator? Speech. Right? So, but here is an opportunity where the legislator, who is more powerful out of three organs of the Constitution of India? Okay, division of power I understand, but overall if you see who is powerful, there is some organ of the Constitution out of three is silently powerful. Judiciary. You can, I'll tell you the later point of time how it works at the end. But here we have, if you look at silent direction of the court, you see what happens, yes or no? So considering it, to understand this perspective, the finance minister, union finance minister goes to meet president. In this case, Murmu madam and Nirmala Sitharaman ma'am goes there and meets the president, briefs about the budget. That is the one of the agenda. But she will brief the entire budget, or she will say, what could have been a discussion if I am the president, you are the finance minister? What is the topics that you are going to present? Main gist 9 pillars I am presenting. There are some schemes. What is the scheme for tribal people? Will I not ask? Because I may have, maybe for example, if I become the president, what could be one of the things that I'll ask the finance minister? What is that you have done for the lawyers? What is that you have done for the Tamil people? Yes or no? What is that you would have done for the women entrepreneurship? What is the most important landmark thing that you have done for the budget in removing the indexation? Removing the indexation. I'll come to that point. Now you are not able to understand. So when I explain, then you will understand this. This could be one of the discussion, or I know that you will present a good budget. I wish you all the very best. Yes or no? That could be one of the discussion, but it is cause of the president. It is of the cause of the president. So I am trying to make Article 112 to be understood by all of you. It is a constitutional mandate. But before we get into the details of the budget, because you are all going to be the administrator, it is very important to understand what are the contents of the budget. What are the documents part of the budget? I would wish that year after, when you're next year onwards, you will download the app called Union Budget app. Union Budget app. You're all thinking this man is the brand ambassador of Government of India. So download the Union Budget app. When you download the Union Budget app, you will find the budget documents. Earlier, it used to be in the website. Now, government has done something very innovative from last year, is developing an app to upload the document. Upload the document. This is an innovation that has happened in the government. In that, there is a document to say what are the budget documents. There is a document in that app to say what are the budget document. Under that, part A is annual financial statement. Part A is annual financial statement. Article 112. Then you have demand for grants. DG. Demand for grants. 3. C is, just a second, I know that you have the document. And let me do as some role as a faculty. Okay. C, finance bill. C is finance bill. C is finance bill. Why is this man repeating 3 times? Probably when you write your UPSC examination, this will come and you will be able to hear my voice. Right? C is finance bill. D is very important document. Fiscal policy statements. Fiscal policy statements mandated under Fiscal Responsibility Budgetary Management Act 2023. Fiscal policy statements mandated under Fiscal Policy Statement mandated under Fiscal Responsibility Budgetary Management Act 2023. Under that, there are 2 subparts. One is macroeconomic framework statement. Macroeconomic framework statement. 2 is medium term fiscal policy fiscal policy strategy statement. Medium term fiscal policy fiscal policy strategy statement. Then E is expenditure budget. F is receipt budget. G is expenditure profile. H is budget at a glance. Budget at a glance. Write whatever small words. Don't try to write the entire sentence. You anyway have the access, but you should write also something. Then you have memorandum explaining the provision in the finance bill. Memorandum explaining the provision in the finance bill. That is, whatever the change that happens in the finance bill, not necessarily only income tax. It is a finance bill that gets passed. Why is that change happened? What was the previous situation? To understand this, you will go and check the memorandum. You will go and check the memorandum. Why aspect? See, when I used to study chartered accountancy, my faculty directly will teach income tax. My friend will be there with me. I used to ask him, did you understand? He will say, yes. He said that for every subject. I also understand what he understood. What he spoke, faculty spoke. But I didn't understand the rationale behind it. I didn't understand the rationale. Why is it now coming here and then Union Budget 2024-25, Garib, farmer, this I can present, yes or no? Why am I making the efforts to talk about Article 112? Let me tell you very frankly, after completing my CA, CWCS, I didn't know how Union Budget gets the power from the Constitution. Even today, many of the panelists in the television, so-called experts, don't know what is the constitutional mandate. You would have understood the budget, but did you understand why the budget came? So, less that my friend always told, who understood, he didn't even understand that he didn't understand. Do you understand? Okay. That friend of mine who said he understood, he didn't understand that he didn't understand. Got it or not? If somebody has a doubt here, that means you are understanding that you didn't understand. Okay, enough. The point here is, memorandum explaining the finance bill. There is a budget amendment that has happened for the salaried class. They removed the indexation. There is a change in the long-term capital gain. There is a change in the slab of the income tax to be taxed. Then where do you find that explanation? You find that explanation as part of memorandum explaining the provision in the finance bill. Memorandum explaining the provision in the finance bill. Don't ever take the effort today to go and read it. You'll get confused. You'll get confused. You need certain kind of expertise to understand the memorandum explaining the provisions in the finance bill. Not that expertise of law or nothing of that sort. First time when you read, you will feel like, why should I read this? இதெல்லாம் தெரிஞ்சு என்ன பண்ண போறோம் நினைச்சிட கூடாது. அதனால அதுக்குன்னு ஒரு சிஸ்டம் வந்து வச்சு படிச்சா புரியும். I hope you can understand, right? Then J is output outcome monitoring framework. Outcome monitoring framework. Then finally, key features of budget 2024-25. The ingredients of it, economic survey, mark oriented thing. I'm very sure that you people will be exposed shortly by the academy, which for your examination purpose. Little have knowledge about all these examination patterns, but all that I'm trying to do here is to present you what is the content of the budget document. Now, there are many debates that happen. See, Article 112, before I complete on Article 112, which is the basis for presenting the union budget every year, our founding fathers of the Constitution had multiple discussion in the Parliament. What should be the flow of fund? Where should the fund flow from? What are the nature of funds that need to be addressed as part of the union budget 2024-25? Today, government collects the tax. Where does the tax go to? Where does the tax go? It collects GST from you. It collects income tax from you. It collects property tax from you. As you eat in the restaurant, they collect tax from you. You not only eat the food in the restaurant, government also eats the income from you called tax. Yes or no? You go and order a pizza from Domino's or whatever, and you order a pizza and you find what? GST in it. You eat the pizza, government gets the tax. Because it's a consumption-based tax. As you consume, tax is paid to the government. What an irony. Can you imagine how the tax is collected? Now, here is a system where tax is collected. All this tax gets consolidated for the purpose of the country. That is called Consolidated Fund of India. You have Contingency Fund of India. I'm not going to get into the details of all the articles because we don't have time. In a given span of time, I want to highlight and make it more interesting. My effort is not to make everyone law expert, but here trying to provide the highlights so that I create interest in you so that you go and check and then read and understand further. So Article 266 of the Constitution of India provides for what is Consolidated Fund of India. What is Consolidated Fund of India? To Article 267 of the Constitution of India provides what is Contingency Fund of India. What is Contingency Fund of India? Under the same Article 266, where I spoke about Consolidated Fund of India, there is a public account. There is a reference to public account. That is, public account is nothing but provident fund, small savings certificate, money, receipt of government receipts, various miscellaneous receipts. That is public account. The budget essentially addresses so now you know Article 112, 266, 267, 266. All this mix of all these articles provides the power for the government to present the union budget 2020 union budget every year. Then the word Consolidated Fund of India has a greater relevance. Our forefathers, that is the founding fathers of the Constitution of India, on 1949, this presentation of the budget was a mandate even under the Government of India Act brought by the Britishers. I think the reference is Section 33. Section 33 is the reference under the Government of India Act, the old act, before we got the independence. That was taken as a reference by our founding fathers. They started debating about it. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar had a reservation with respect to how the fund has to flow to the union presentation of the union budget, the annual financial statement. There were different words used, receipt, that, this and all. emoluments, whether salary should be named or emoluments. So the naming itself had a problem. The discussion happened at least for 3 to 4 days in two sets of discussion. One happened in June, other happened in September. If you want to refer to this, you have to go and look at the Constituent Assembly debates. Under the draft constitution, it was 92, Article 92. Now it is under the Constitution of India, present Constitution of India, it is 112. Equal to that, 92 was the draft constitution before it got finalized. Means what is essentially you should understand, 92 old article இருக்கும்போது நடுவுல நிறைய ஆர்டிகல் ஆட் ஆனதுனால 112 ஆயிடுச்சு. அவ்வளவுதான். So 112 is the article as part of the Constitution of India. But if you want to refer the draft 92, which went for a debate, where they changed it to 112, that means there's some content that got changed or not. That content, if you want to know, you have to go and check Constituent Assembly debates. When you read Constitution of India, do not read only the article. Understand the history. Then it is easy for you to understand why. Once you understand why, then you understand the power. Here Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was very, very clear. He was very clear because of his knowledge on economics, knowledge of law, knowledge of various constitutions around the world. His library is the largest private library in the world even today. Understand these facets of him. He went and said it should be Consolidated Fund of India. It should be Consolidated Fund of India, where the fund which is there in the Consolidated Fund of India, Contingency Fund of India, next concept is Contingency Fund of India, public account, should be distributed to the various programs of the government. How to do it, how there is a larger perspective to it, but I am trying to give the basic idea of it. To understand how the budget document itself is created, it requires 2 days of lecture, part of the finance ministry. But our role is not to understand that as of now. Maybe probably in future, if you have the opportunity, maybe you may get an opportunity also. If you become finance secretary of the country, by the time when you evolve, it is your duty to understand how the budget document is prepared. Don't have a low aim. Anybody and everybody has the opportunity in this country to become what they think to become. So if you become the finance secretary, or if you're in the process of becoming your process, probably see, you will not be said, you will not be groomed as a finance secretary, yes or no? One day you will be in admin husbandry. The other day you will be in the labor department. One day you will be in law secretary. But over a period of time, because of the cognitive ability, when you are in the administration, you will understand this. So Consolidated Fund, don't feel that you are not able to understand. Understand there is something called Consolidated Fund of India. There is a Contingency Fund of India. There is a public account from where receipts and expenditure, where the expenditure is met by the government. You have the purse in your pocket. From there, you use the money. You have Google Pay, from where you make the payment. Similarly, the government as a mechanism, in the same Google Pay account only you receive also, yes or no? Like that, Consolidated Fund of India. Contingency Fund is father's money. Father's Google Pay. Example, I'm just giving an example. So to map it, technique of pegging, so that you connect the what is happening to the concept that is in place. So this is a idea of the first thing is about the budget document. Let us now get into the details of the budget. Very interesting. Can you please tell me what is the budget outlay of the country in 2024-25? Sir, the budget amount is this much. What is the budget amount? 6 point? Just guess. Country's total budget. We are speaking about India. You are all going to be part of executive. Don't forget that. What is the total budget of India? Okay, leave that. What is the total budget of your home every month? What's the total budget of your home? Example. 25,000 rupees. Your 20,000. 10,000 per month, per year. Budget. Okay, leave home. You probably will be staying in a hostel. What is your per month budget that you get reimbursed from your parents? Sometimes unma solluvom poi sollu adu vittrunga. Xerox no. Probably that day there will be a release of a movie. Sir, how do you know? எத்தனை நாள் நம்ம வாங்கியிருப்போம். கரெக்டா இல்லையா? அதுவும் அம்மா அப்பா வந்து மத்த எதுவுமே கேட்க மாட்டாங்க. நான் போய் சாப்பிடணும், சாப்பிடாம அதுக்கு என்ன இருக்கு, ஜெராக்ஸ் போடணும், எக்ஸாம் தானே, ஓகே தோ கொடுத்துறேன், ரைட். So there is a budget that you have for yourself every month. Your home has a budget every month. India is a family, Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. Here you have the budget for the country. What should be the budget? 10,000 rupees, okay va? How much should be the budget for a year? Guess the figure. Huh? 30 lakh crore. Is not speaking about 30 lakhs. 30 lakh crore. What's the number? Can you put in the figure? 30 lakh crore. Possible? 6.5 lakh crore. 6.5 lakh crore. நம்ம சொன்னோம்னா அது இருக்காதுன்னு நினைச்சுக்காதீங்க. அப்படியே குறைச்சிட்டே வராதீங்க. என் ஃபேஸ் பார்த்து சொல்லாதீங்க. உங்களுக்கு என்ன தோணுதோ அதை சொல்லுங்க. 48 lakh crore. My friend has seen the Google. 48 lakh crore. I'm going to repeat. 48 lakh crore. Take this number. Can't even see that number. Recently in Chennai, one taxi driver, you must be knowing about this incident. One taxi driver, while he was driving taxi, suddenly one SMS came. That SMS showed 9,000 crore credit. 9,000 crore. That taxi driver name is Raj Kumar. 9,000 crore got credited. 9,000 crore got credited. How? How is it possible? Correct? 9,000 crore. Our number பார்த்துட்டே இருக்காரு, என்ன கூட தெரியல அவருக்கு. Bank credited this amount. From there, he spent 20,000 rupees. After that, suddenly that 9,000 crore is not there in his bank account. This may be a joke, but he was not able to even take that number in mind. By the time number is not there in the bank account, immediately bankers calls him and says, no problem, you don't pay 20,000 anyway, that's all fine. It's not fine actually. Why is it not fine? There is a banking system regulated by Reserve Bank of India. When you are crediting some amount, நீ வந்து ஒரு 9,000 crore ஒருத்தர் கிரெடிட் பண்ணா யாரோட பணமா தானே அது. அப்போ ஒரு சிஸ்டம் இருக்கணுமா வேணாமா? டு ஹேவ் த கண்ட்ரோல் இன் பிளேஸ், எஸ் ஆர் நோ? சோ அதை விட்டுருவோம். அந்த 9,000 crore அவரால எடுத்துக்க முடியல அந்த நம்பர், ஏன்னா நம்பர்ஸ் பெருசு. அதுக்கப்புறம் என்ன ஆச்சுங்கிறது, அதுக்கப்புறம் now he has filed a case and all and it's going on. But fact of the matter is, அவரோட மிஸ்டேக்கே கிடையாது. Is it his mistake? Whose mistake is it? Bank. So banking regulationல மிஸ் ஆயிருக்கு, கரெக்டா இல்லையா? அது கரெக்டா பேங்க் ஃபாலோ பண்ணல, அதை விட்டுருவோம். அந்த 9,000 crore ஒரு பேங்கால கிரெடிட் பண்ண முடியுது. 9,000 crore. அப்போ இந்தியாவோட பட்ஜெட் எப்படி இருக்கும் அப்படின்னா 48 lakh crores. 48 lakh crores. இமிடியேட்டா நீங்க என்ன சொல்வீங்க, அந்த 48 lakh crores 140 crore பீப்புளுக்கு டிவைட் பண்ணி போட்டுடலாமே சார் டெபாசிட்னு வைங்க. That might, it will ultimately come to you. That cannot be possible. We are speaking about a budget outlay of 48 lakh crore for the schemes of the government of India. Under that 48 lakh crore கவர்மெண்ட்டுக்கு 48 lakh crore பட்ஜெட் போட முடியுதுன்னா அப்ப 48 lakh crore க்கு how do they get the revenue is a question. How do they get the revenue? This annual financial statement reference article 112, when I spoke, it is very clear. It speaks about revenue statement, revenue and expenditure, both revenue and expenditure. Expenditure side, revenue expenditure, capital expenditure. Revenue expenditure, capital expenditure. People who know accounting, it's even more complicated. People who don't know accounting, it's even more complicated. People who know accounting, revenue expenditure, capital expenditure. So considering it, 48 lakh crore is the total budget. In 48 lakh crore, 36 lakh crore is what the government got revenue. 48 lakh crore minus 36 lakh crore, what is the figure? Minus 48 minus 36, 12. This 12 lakh crore is the debt of the government. Is the debt of the government. And that means there is some term that we use that is called deficit. That is called deficit. Every month when you are in hostel, there will be a deficit. Eventually the deficit will be from your friend. You can pay him or not pay him. Similarly, every year budget is deficit in India. Next question that will come. What was the budget in 2024, 2014, 2015? It is not 48 lakh crore every year. Government started spending about 29 lakh crore, 30 lakh crore. Now it has gone to 48 lakh crore. Your argument will be what? Sir, can we stop the borrowing for at least 5 years and retain at 30 lakh crore? You will not keep quiet. Because India is in the growth stage. Let me come to the, now that you have understood that you have 48 lakh crore in your hand, you become the finance minister. You become the finance minister. The greater challenge lies now in your hands. India is a federal country. India is a federal country, union of states. Union of states. Every state is looking at 48 lakh crore. Every state is 48 lakh crore. You are also looking at 48 lakh crore. What will I get out of it? Will there be every month some allocation for my hostel expenses? Everybody is looking at that 48 lakh crore. I am waiting with 48 lakh crore before you in the parliament. I am the finance minister, and what you will think? How much he will give me? How much? How much I will have to give, that is tax. But how much he will give me? How much he will give me? Everybody is looking at. Everybody is looking at. The finance minister starts the speech. Finance minister starts the speech. That speech and all is not important for us. India will grow at 7% GDP. India will grow at 7% GDP. 7% GDP growth is targeted. Every year it is targeted. Every year it is targeted. We are targeting for reaching double-digit GDP for the past 15 years. In between, what they change? Sorry, okay, real terms achieve panna mudiyala. Calculation la maathidalam. Calculation la maathidalam. They change the basis of computation of GDP. Leave that story. I don't want to highlight about it. But as of today, India is targeting to be in 7% GDP growth. This is the figure, very, very important. Probably in your economics class, they will be giving more details about it. I am not dwelling into it. And this 7%, can it be achieved is the question. The greatest hindrance for achieving 7% GDP growth, its own relative called fiscal deficit. Its own relative called fiscal deficit. This fiscal deficit is a very important concept that has to go into your ears, wherein there is a deficit of budget, 12 lakh crores is the deficit in the budget. This 12 lakh crores accounts for the fiscal deficit. This is targeted to be about 4.9%. This is targeted to about 4.9%. So you have two figures with you now. One is the GDP growth of 7%. Then your fiscal deficit, which is targeted to be 4. It is not target. Tomorrow morning, I'll get up at 5 o'clock. Go for walking. Like this, I'm taking resolution. I'm taking resolution for how many years? 1 year. Morning, 5 o'clock, alarm will ring. Automatically, it will off without my knowledge. I will not leave it switch it off. Tomorrow. Like that, we have target that we have fixed for GDP 7%. Fiscal deficit 4.9%. Now the question comes, what should be the GDP number? There's no, that's a target that we keep based on the global developments that that happens. But what should be the fiscal deficit? There is a target. There is a target. If target cannot be achieved, what do? We change. Yes or no? இப்போ ஒரு 200 மார்க் எடுக்கணும் அப்படின்னு ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிள் ஏதோ ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிள் எடுக்கிறோம். சரி 200 மார்க் எடுக்க முடியலன்னு முடிவு பண்ணிட்டோம். அப்ப என்ன பண்ணுவோம்? Revise the target. 190 is enough. Like that, you have a Fiscal Responsibility Budgetary Management Act, which clearly says the fiscal deficit should be 3%. Who fixed this 3%? Parliament only. How did they fix? Through Fiscal Responsibility Budgetary Management Act. எதுவுமே லிமிட் இல்லாம இருக்கக்கூடாது. கரெக்டா? அதாவது பிஸ்கல் டெபிசிட் எவ்வளவு வேணா இருந்துட்டு போலான்ற ஒரு காரணம் ஒரு டைம் இருந்தது இந்தியால. There were times in India where we were not even having control on fiscal deficit, but we wanted to have some target for that. So we brought Fiscal Responsibility Budgetary Management Act, under which there is a clear indication of 3%. Now we are at 4 point. What is the fiscal deficit number? Everyone, please. There is no chance in my class that anybody can even sleep. My voice is like that. That's what my family members say. So you have 4.9% fiscal deficit. It has to reach to 3%. It has to reach to 3%. Now this 1.9% exists. All these economists who start discussing in the television along with me, they started talking about India's future, some jargons. The question came to me. I was appearing in multiple television channels. The anchor, the renowned anchor, started asking me. NDTV, Republic, there is many of the news, X channel, AN9, Asia News Network. They all started questioning me. What do you think about the fiscal deficit of the country? I said very clearly, I don't bother about it. I give an example for this. You're all now studying in a hostel where your parents work very hard to make you get educated. Very hard. Any parent, India is a country where not that everybody is rich, not that everybody is middle class, but we are all aiming to be in middle class, or we are trying to move from middle class to rich. That's the majority of the people. So we have to understand what is our problem. Your parents are educating you by investing in you. It's not expenditure. At this stage, when you're completing 12th standard, if you go and ask any parent, கடன் வாங்கலையாவது படிக்க வைக்கணும். இந்த ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட் கண்டிப்பா இருக்கும். At least in the state of Tamil Nadu, nook and corner of Tamil Nadu. At least the state of Tamil Nadu. This statement I've seen only in Tamil Nadu, in majority of the places, because they know in another 10 years the amount that they get as a loan is not a significant amount. Anyway, you will get into a job, you go and become a productive person. So like that, India having 4.9% doesn't matter, because India is needed by other countries. We have skillful population. We need to skill our population. We have youth population with us. So investing on them is the major thing that the government should do, is what I have reflected in all my interviews, denying the figures told by all the experts of the who were all saying that India fiscal deficit has to be curtailed, it should not cross 5%. Yes, we have the concern, but still we can borrow more and help our youths to become more skillful. This was a statement I made. I was clear in all my statement pre-budget prediction. Astrologer predicts, yes or no? Whether it comes true or not, he will make it true in most of the thing. But certain times it also comes true. But here I made some prediction, not like astrological numbers, but what is the need of this country? The three important sectors based on which I made a prediction was: one is agriculture, two is employment generation, three is women entrepreneurship. This is the need of this country. So here, if you see, the government, when they announce the budget, they announce the budget under 9 pillars. 9 pillars. This is a very important thing that we are getting. Now only we are getting into the budget. It's all about the background to the document called Union Budget 2024-25. This year is a very special year. Before the election, there was one budget. After the election, there is one budget. Before the election, what was that budget? Interim budget. That is vote on account. Right? I want to highlight about it. The date of budget got changed. You all know? Hello? Not this year. After 2014. The date of budget got changed. Before 2014, what was the date of budget? What was the date of budget? Now, what is the date of budget? February? Hello? February 1? March 1? What is the date of budget? See the Google and tell me. February 1st. February 1st. Are you sure? 100%. Okay. Why is this change happened? There is a political reason. Because first thing, we have to plan our expenditure for the forthcoming year. You have the annual financial year as 1st April to 31st March. Taxes get collected during that period. So we have to plan our budget. Second, the present government knew that elections will come in May. If it happens, Lok Sabha elections will come in the month of May. So it is an opportunity that can be used by them to announce certain schemes which will click with the people, You are a legislator, you are the prime minister. Will you not think like this to win the election? What's wrong in it? If you have taken the role of a legislator, politician to legislator, you want to get elected, you need to take measures to see to that you come to the power. Yes or no? At the same time, use the constitution properly so that it doesn't fracture the basic structure of the Constitution of India. So the date of budget presentation got revised. Date of second important change that happened from the past during this tenure is clubbing the railway budget with the main budget so that the budget becomes big. And earlier railway budget used to be like from Kadalur to Dindivanam, one train is announced. Like that, the announcement used to come. You will not find that nowadays. Vande Bharat, all this macro level announcement only relating to the budget. So ideally, the budget date got revised, and now during the election year, it is helping the ruling government. Why? Let's assume if the budget was in the earlier, probably even sometimes if the budget is the election is preponed, then model code of conduct will be applicable. They cannot even present the budget. Yes or no? So now that you have a cushion of so many months, budget can be used as a tool to announce populist measure by the government. So here, before the budget, they brought interim budget, which is vote on account, After the new government gets formed, they present the full budget. That's what has happened in the current year. So that is the reason we are discussing about the budget in the month of July. Not that every year we will discuss the budget on the month of July. We will be discussing somewhere in the month of February. Now, in this budget, before the main budget got presented, the interim budget, there are only 4 pillars. Now I wanted to open this topic for discussion. Before the election, if you are the prime minister or you are the government, what are the pillars that you will introduce in the interim budget? What are the pillars? Will you introduce corporate as a pillar? Why? First pillar of the economy is corporate. I will incentivize before the election. Will you say? Will you say? What will you say? Poor, poverty, employment, farmers, vulnerable sections of the society, education, youth, migrants, tribal. Then, after the election, what will you announce? After the election, what will you announce? With the permission of everyone, I'll have a tea. After the election, what will you announce? Same thing only you will do. What? Same thing only you will do. But the public discussion that will happen will be like, this government has favored the pro-corporate. We'll address this issue of certain questions that you will definitely have. At the end, I will take up the questions. Essentially, any government will support corporate. You please accept that first. I have accepted it. Essentially, any government will support the corporate. Accept that first. Even if tomorrow you become an administrator, finance secretary, you cannot say, I will not announce anything as a benefit to the corporate. Will you say that next day you will not be a finance secretary? Essentially, the term corporate is not against the society. Somewhere, the word in the debates, this government is only for corporates. And corporate is linked to 10 or 5 names. So with that, they bring a discussion on the table. Leave that. Let us analyze before the election what you said the government did. So that means your thinking process and the ruling government is not different. A man who sits in the power will always try to capture the power. It's an essential thing, right? Here, they targeted before the election, farmer, that in Hindi name is Annadata. Then poor, Garib, Mailyan, youth, Yuva. These are the 4 targets in the interim budget. They allocated some portion to the four pillars. But in the current full budget, the title for the budget is Priorities for Vikshit Bharat. Vikshit Bharat. Like we have seen Atmanirbhar Bharat, Stand Up India, Startup India, Digital India, Make in India, Make for the World. Nice. All this is a term used for ensuring it got simplified to reach all of you. Priorities for Vikshit Bharat. People who know Hindi, can you tell me what is Vikshit? Transformation. Okay. Vikshit, you are talking about transformation. Before we get into the numbers of the budget, you tell me honestly, you are all people who are connected to the roots. You all come from different parts of the country or parts of the state. You have some ambition in you. That is the reason you wanted to become administrator. Apart from securing employment for you, that is different. That is the byproduct of your effort. But what is a larger perspective? You want to transform something in the country. So that means you are part of this transformation story. You tell me, if you are a finance secretary, what is the transformation you are looking at? First transformation. I'll address about that in the budget. What is the first transformation you are looking at? Sir, I have no idea. That don't tell me like that. It will upset me. What is that one transformation that you are looking at in the country immediately? Skilling, education, reducing poverty, MSME, infrastructure development, reduction in corruption. Okay, that I cannot answer. Then employment, healthcare, promoting organic, then organic agriculture models, then not implementing but promoting. Okay, right. He is very clear. He will become finance secretary. Implementing means budget. Promoting means nothing. Speaking. There is a subtly you should note. We encourage no budget allocation. We plan no budget allocation. Zero budget farming. No budget allocation. No budget, zero budget. Natural farming. No budget. No fertilizer, nothing. Natural farming. So these words are very important. So he will become surely finance secretary. If I become finance minister, he is my finance secretary. So I'm just making the things very simple. Disclaiming. That cannot be the object of the government. But what we have to understand, you people have highlighted rightly. All the things what you told is now brought under 9 pillars of the budget presentation. It does not show the greatness of the government. Please understand, I'm not praising about the government has brought. What you are thinking is not I'm trying to say. If they cannot bring, then it will become a part of the discussion in the parliament. So government also does a survey. That's called economic survey. That's called economic survey. It's not that it is not without a basis. I should be the voice of the people, right? I know there is a problem in agriculture. I know there is a problem in education. I know there is a problem in the country where I need to touch those points as part of the budget. The 9 pillars the government tried to provide is very important. Probably when you're looking at India Book 2024, probably you may have to look at these aspects. First pillar is productivity and resilience in agriculture. Word is very important. Productivity in agriculture requires budget. Resilience in agriculture, I don't know what budget it requires. The word is very important. Productivity and resilience in agriculture. Then second pillar is employment and skilling. Feel happy that whatever you are thinking is the government is also trying to bring. From next year when you are going to watch the budget live, see that your voice is being heard in the parliament. The third important pillar is inclusive human resource development and social justice. Inclusive human resource development and social justice. Right in bracket. It is not the social justice model of Tamil Nadu. They are defining something else. when they started announcing, you should also understand that. I'll explain you about it. The model of social justice is very different here. The reservation, that's not the announcement of the budget. See, when I also was shocked when finance minister said inclusive human resource development and social justice. The word social justice in action is in Tamil Nadu. What role does budget have in social justice is what I was thinking. Probably there may be some announcement about some new enactment and things like that. Essentially, they are talking about some other model, which I'll enlighten you. Manufacturing. Next pillar is manufacturing and services. Then comes urban development. Then comes energy security. Then comes infrastructure. Then next pillar is innovation, research and development. The last pillar of the budget is next generation reforms. Is the next generation reforms. So you have the 9 pillars with you. Okay, let me put this question to all of you, to all the finance secretaries sitting here. How much will you allocate for agriculture? Don't see the Google and tell me what is the answer. How much will you allocate for the agriculture? The tea I drink, the tiffin you eat, the energy you carry, every day you live, is because of whom? Farmers. The Hindi word is Annadata. Annadata Sukhi Bhavatu. You will find this word because when you're writing UPSC, you should know the Hindi word also now. Fighting with Hindi, we will do it later. For scoring marks, we should essentially know. Myself, I don't know Hindi. For the purpose of taking lecture, I'm asking my friends what is Annadata, farmers. Atmanirbhar Bharat. Vande Bharat. So these words are very, very important. These are all points, these are all the scheme that gets allotted money in the budget, right? You have Annadata, the farmers, the agriculture. How much will, out of 48 lakh crore? Okay, let us do this exercise. I have 48 lakh crores with me. You have 9 pillars in your hand. Which pillar requires highest allocation of the entire budget? You tell me, please. Don't understand my sentiment and my feeling and then try to justify me. Because I spoke about agriculture, so immediately we are all alerting more. Primary. What do you feel personally which requires more attention, more money? Which one? Urban development. Because he's in Anna Nagar. As of now, he wants urban development. Good point. Not to hurt. You are from which place? Gujarat. Which location in Gujarat? Surat. Oh, from Gujarat you come here to study IAS. Oh, okay. Good. Yeah. Manufacturing. No, you are basically from Surat and settled here, or from Surat only you come here. Okay, good. Okay. So you want urban development. Okay. Manufacturing. Okay. Why? For large employment. Large employment creation. Good point. Next. Shoot me your feedback. Please shoot me your feedback. Resilience in agriculture. Why? Because without food, no one is there. Basic problem. He is addressing the basic problem. Yes, then. Because of food, no one is there. First, you are not there. Yes or no? So, food is essential. Good point. Next. Next generation reforms. What is next gen reforms? Sustainable development. Okay. This terms very poor people will understand. I'm going to allot 1 lakh crores for next generation reforms. Like that, if I say, will people understand? And it's a good point. You have to simplify. So what is the next generation reform you will allot for? So see, he himself has no idea. Then how will the people have idea? So next generation reform is what when they do. I also felt, what is next generation reform? What is next generation? First to see this generation. Let us go to next generation. Let us go to next generation later. That to take care of the present generation, next generation is taken care. Yes or no? Right. Next generation reforms. What is that? We will understand. Okay. Right. Let us all come to a conclusion now. Out of 48 lakh crore budget, how much you expect for the agriculture? Expect. I am the finance minister. I'm asking you. Give me this opportunity. Let's assume really I'm going to present a budget. How much will you ask the finance minister? That number will be reflected in the parliament. You tell me. How much? 5 lakh crore. 8 lakh crore. 20 lakh crore. 1 lakh crore. 2 lakh crore. Okay. Why 20 lakh crore? Somebody tell 20 lakh. Somebody was saying 20 lakh crore. That was highest number which I heard. Auction. What? Why 20 lakh crore? Chumma I told sir. Why 20 lakh crore? Now I'm going to ask you why 20 lakh crore. Development of new variety of what? Brinjal or tomato or carrot. To sustain climate change, we need to develop what? A new variety that is resistance. I myself am trying to understand. Climate change. Vertical farming. This is all high level of concept. Straight away, I am asking a simple question. This is the problem with educated people like you and me. You go to a village and ask him, sir, finance minister கிட்ட 48 லட்சம் இருக்கு. என்ன பண்ண சொல்றீங்க அவங்க? மொத்தத்தையும் கொடுக்க சொல்றீங்க. Let us understand. See, education is a tool to transform the uneducated, the deprived, the vulnerable, the marginal in the society. In that process, you get some salary. With that, you buy some house. In that process, you get some salary. You buy some car. That is not the ultimate objective. Let us get into the details. In this budget, somebody was saying 20 lakh crore. Somebody was saying 2 lakh crore. Somebody was saying 5 lakh crore. In this budget, they have allotted 1,52,000 crores for the agriculture. Now, we saw what is the allocation. I'm sure that you are all not happy, especially the person who told 20 lakh crore. You will not be happy at all. He visioned 20 lakh crore. 1,52,000 crore is the allocation. 1,52,000 crore is the allocation. If you ask me, it is enough. Answer is no. Answer is no. Definitely no. Okay. I give this 1,52,000 crore. Now the finance minister is offering 1,52,000 crore to the farmers. That is agriculture. First pillar. In agriculture, for what I should allot? Answer me. In agriculture, how many of them are from village? Answer. Village, that is from the rural parts. Okay. You are from which part of Tamil Nadu? Yeah, that person last. Tanjavur. Correct ஆன ஆள பிடிச்சிருக்கேன். கடவுள் வேற எப்படி கனெக்ட் பண்ற? அக்ரிகல்ச்சர்ல தஞ்சாவூர். அதான் கடவுளை நம்பணும்ன்றது. Right, we have a good name. Imran. Now, Imran is from Tanjavur. It's a delta. And agriculture is the happening place. Right. Punni rice. Yes or no? Is one of the iconic rice of, you all must be aware of Nel Jayaraman. Yes or no? About various varieties of, how many people are from Agri? Oh, Agri. Okay, right. Superb. Right. This is what I know. That's all I know. Okay. நான் எக்ஸ்பர்ட் நினைச்சிடாதீங்க. ரைட். இப்போ இந்த அக்ரிகல்ச்சருக்கு டெல்டா ரீஜியன்ல அக்ரிகல்ச்சரோட ப்ராப்ளம் என்ன? ஃபர்ஸ்ட் அதை பேசுவோம். Then we will see allocation. What is exactly the problem of the agriculture? People who do agriculture. People who do agriculture. Irrigation. Fertilizer. Yes, then.
Land degradation.
Land degradation. Climate change. Electricity. Loan. Subsidy. Huh? Irregular rainfall. Correct பிடிக்கிறார் பாயிண்ட். Coastal erosion. Okay. Farmer input cost. What is your educational background? Max. Correct. Input cost calculation. Farmer input cost. Then shortage of labor. Fantastic. Shortage of labor. என்கிட்ட land இருக்கு, என்கிட்ட விவசாயம் பண்ணணுன்றதுக்கான எல்லா இன்புட் இருக்கு. Who will come and do farming? Laborers. Now if I'm going to buy capital intensive thing, I don't have 100 acres or 200 acres, 2000 acres like US or Europe. So here the challenges of the, if you see, all the aspect of agriculture is challenge. In fact, if you ask me who takes the highest risk in the country as an entrepreneur, it's agri entrepreneur. எதுவுமே அவங்க கண்ட்ரோல்ல கிடையாது. எதுவுமே அவங்க கண்ட்ரோல்ல கிடையாது. ப்ரொக்யூர்மெண்ட் பிரைஸ்ல இருந்து, அவங்க விவசாயம் பண்றதுல இருந்து, அவங்க கண்ட்ரோல்ல எதுவுமே கிடையாது. அவங்க எதுவுமே செய்ய முடியாது. அவங்க ஒன்னே ஒண்ணுதான் பண்ண முடியும். இடத்த உழுது அதுல நெல்லு அதாவது ஹார்வெஸ்ட் பண்ற வரைக்கும் அவங்க கிட்ட வந்து எந்த ஒரு ஃபேக்டரும் அவங்க கண்ட்ரோல், ஃபேக்டர்ஸ் ஆஃப் ப்ரொடக்ஷன் சொல்லுவோம்ல, we talk about factors of production. So government has a greater challenge in India from two angles. In 2015 budget, Union Budget 2015, Honorable late Shri Arun Jaitley was a finance minister. He highlighted exact this paragraph. I want to recollect. I know what paragraph comes in which budget because I've been continuously following up all the budgets. Exactly in the 4th page of the budget in 2015, in the last paragraph, he said in the 4th page, 86% of the farmers in the country are marginal farmers. This 86% of the marginal farmers have a unique problem. Don't compare this problem with other Western countries or any of the Asian countries also. It's a unique problem. First problem is they are taking a risk of doing agriculture. Agriculture பண்ணணும்ன்றதே ஒரு ரிஸ்க் தான். அதுக்கு என்ன வேணும்? இன்சூரன்ஸ் வேணும். இன்சூரன்ஸ் வேணும். எல்லா ஃபார்மருக்கு இன்சூரன்ஸ் போயிடுச்சா? இன்சூரன்ஸ் இருக்கா? எல்லா கிராப்புக்கு இருக்கா? இன்சூரன்ஸ் ஒரு கான்செப்ட் இருக்கா? ஆனா ஏன் ரீச் ஆகல? why it didn't reach? So first fundamental problem is insurance. இன்சூரன்ஸ் பண்ணிட்டா பாதி ப்ராப்ளம் முடிஞ்சது. இன்சூரன்ஸ் பண்ணா பாதி ப்ராப்ளம் முடிஞ்சது. ஏன்னா அவருடைய பிரச்சனை என்ன? கடன் வாங்குறாரு, ஃபர்டிலைசர் வாங்குறாரு. he buys, sorry for the people, how many people don't know Tamil? I will never take the liberty of speaking in Tamil unless all the people know Tamil, because everybody has to understand. Okay, let me have my conversation only in English. Farmer, if he gets that insurance, then fertilizer, whatever efforts he takes to actually do agriculture is protected. Take for example a manufacturer. He manufactures a product. Inventory is insured or not? There is a software company. Every human resource is insured or not? Every equipment is insured or not? Why alone farmers are not insured? So insurance sector has to be reformed to support 100% of the farmers in the country. That is the priority of the government. Whether it is doable, answer is doable. Whether it is reachable is a question. Whether reachable to the farmer is the question. We can do, we can announce. Whether it can reach the farmer is the question. This is the first problem statement. Second problem statement, we all talk about minimum support price. What is the minimum support price for the 21 crops? 22 crops, huh? 22? How many? What is the minimum support price for the 22 crops? That I'm talking about times. 100 rupees is the product price. How much is the support price that the government should offer? 1.5 times. 1.5 times. So government is offering minimum support price there. There is a harvest that happens. After harvest, where will the farmer keep the produce? Already the farmer is living in the hut. He doesn't have a proper house. Where is the warehouse? There is no warehouse. When there is no warehouse, we are talking about doubling the farmer's income. We have only doubled their problem. You double their produce, where will they keep the produce? If they cannot keep the produce, there is a middleman who consolidates all these people, takes 1.5 times from the government, but gives them only 50% of it. This problem is because there is no warehouse. I visited recently, not recently, about 3.5 years before. I always know when somebody says something new is there, irrespective of my profession, what I do, irrespective of my where I am, what position I am in. Doesn't matter. I'll go and check whether it is happening or not. It's my interest, personal interest. Somebody told me near Vaidishwaran Koil, on the way to Tanjavur, Vaidishwaran Koil. On the right side, there is one village where people have built a warehouse. So I visited to see, took a car from here, went and saw how they have built a warehouse. And the village parent is full of somebody took me there. I'll send probably, I'll send it after the session. I'll try to identify what is the village name. வைத்தீஸ்வரன் கோயில் பக்கத்துல லெஃப்ட்ல ஒரு ரோடு போகுது, அந்த ரோட்ல ஒரு வில்லேஜ் இருக்கு, அது கிட்ட ஒரு வில்லேஜ். அந்த வில்லேஜ்ல வேர்ஹவுஸ் இருக்கு. அந்த வேர்ஹவுஸ், the warehouse how it operates is, it is a warehouse for the entire village. So there is a farmer producer organization which is working for that village. And the village people வந்து exclusive, they have floated a farmer producer organization. Even though we have marginal farmers, when we consolidate them under FPO, it becomes one. The feeling of oneness of a village. In that village, they have a warehouse. That FPO has a warehouse, and FPO is members are all the farmers of the village by default. So they maintain this warehouse. They produce. They have a produce, and that produce is taken to the warehouse. From the warehouse, they negotiate the price. They negotiate the price. There is no opportunity for the farmer to negotiate. But the same vegetable vendor in Chennai who sells the vegetable has the negotiation capability, but the farmer doesn't have the negotiation capability. He is afraid already. Why? If he starts negotiating, if they don't take his produce, he will incur losses, or he will be secluded from the consortium or cartel, indirect cartel. He is afraid of it. So he is selling at the price what the commission and brokers are trying to buy it. So here is a village where I saw they have produce. They are able to negotiate for their products where the shelf life is more. Not that every product you can do it, but still it is in a very early stage. Only the godown is there for paddy. But let's assume that village has a capability to produce fruits like watermelon. There should be a cold storage. There should have been allocation for that. The third important thing, social security for a farmer. What I saw in that village is that village had primary health center. It did not have a hospital. That village had an ambulance. That village had a cooperative movement for dairy. So these are all were done by that village president only, who belongs to the village. So village transformation is what the government should have seen in this budget. For village transformation, through village transformation only, Vikshit Bharat can happen. Without village transformation, holistically, not bits and pieces, but as a holistic development of the village. Here, 1,52,000 crore, what they've allotted is for transforming agriculture research. Research is something which is futuristic. Already there is a crisis. I'm not saying you don't allot for research. Am I saying don't allot for research? Then all these agri students will come and say, what are you speaking, sir? I am saying the most urgent thing is insurance, warehouse, and social security for a farmer. When I speak about social security, what is the social security I'm speaking about? They don't have health cover. You immediately will say, so the government of India brought Ayushman Bharat. You take the Ayushman Bharat card. How many of them have Ayushman Bharat card here? Ayushman Bharat card. You have Ayushman Bharat card. Can you please take that Ayushman Bharat card to a private hospital and give them and say, please provide me the treatment? They will say, please don't come. Here is a model where the government is trying to provide 5 lakhs as part of the Ayushman Bharat. But if you take that card, give it to the hospital is not going to use it. So here is then second, credit card is also there. Kisan credit card is also there. I regularly speak about it in my Instagram page about all this scheme. Very less people watch. If somebody does funny, then it is on viral. When something serious, it doesn't go. But doesn't matter. I'm very sure this is a knowledge that is required for the masses. Where there's a credit card scheme, what the government has brought for the farmer, credit card for the farmer. But as it reached to the farmer, answer is no. So campaign is needed, awareness program is needed. So fundamentally, the value chain of the farmer has to be taken care by the budget. But the budget went on to allocate for transforming agriculture research to good. But I'm saying that let's assume 1,52,000 crore. How much should have been allotted for research? For managing crisis only, you should have allotted 1 lakh crore. Agriculture is in crisis. But whereas the specific allocation is for transforming agriculture research, national cooperation policy, that is for the Atma Bharata, that is for oil seeds like mustard, groundnut, sesame, all those things, there is an allocation. And vegetable production and supply chain, that's where is this is what is needed actually for all the products, where there are a lot of promotion of FPO, cooperative starters for vegetable supply chain, for collection, storage and marketing. But if you see, the allocation is very minimal, not even 4,000 crore. This is needed for all the product, just not for vegetable, but for all 22 products of the government. So this is for agriculture. Beyond this, government has also spoken about encouraging natural farming, no budget allocation. Where they said 1 crore farmers across the country will be initiated into natural farming. Why should you initiate that? They're already doing natural farming only. What is natural farming? They do natural farming by looking at the sky, they're praying to the god. Natural farming. What is the allocation of budget? What is the allocation of budget? What they're speaking about is certification and branding. Government says we will come here for natural farming, that is organic farming, where we will come forward and do certification for the products, which was lacking. If organic, organic, this honey is organic, that vegetable is organic, the apple organic, and you take near the candle and then so the wax will come. So organic, there is no certification and branding at all. Anybody can claim it is organic. But this organic farming has a greater potential, untapped potential for the global market. In Europe, there is a huge market for organic products. Huge market for the organic products. But what is lacking? How will the global vendor buy from India? Sathya says it's organic, he will buy. Sathya says it's organic. Will you buy? We need proper branding and certification. Corrupt-free branding and certification. Corrupt-free branding and certification. I caveat, because that is also important. No, that is also important. Of course, there are other announcements as part of the agriculture, like digital public infrastructure. The crop survey will be conducted in 400 districts, and doing with the crop survey, they wanted to give credit cards to the farmers. This is an announcement with respect to the agriculture. So if you ask me, out of 10 points for agriculture in this current budget, I will only give 3 marks. Out of 10 marks, I will only give 3 marks. That means 7 marks I cannot give. I am giving marks to the government. I cannot give. Poor allocation. Poor allocation. மனசு கஷ்டமா இருந்தது. ஃபெயில் மட்டும் தான் பண்ணி விட்டுருக்கேன். 40 மார்க் மினிமம் வேணும்ல, அதனால ஒரு 3 மார்க்ஸ். லெட் அஸ் கம் டு இந்த மாதிரி மார்க் கொடுப்போம். ஒரு இதுக்கும் மார்க் நீங்க கொடுத்துக்கோங்க. அதே மாதிரி போய் பார்த்து ஒரு பட்ஜெட்ல இருக்க அனௌன்ஸ்மெண்ட் பார்த்து மார்க் கொடுங்க. ரைட். ரெண்டாவது, முதல்ல வந்து பட்ஜெட் மீட்டிங் உட்காரும் போது, பட்ஜெட் பேனல்ல உட்காருவேன். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டெலிவிஷன்ல உட்காரும் போது somebody will give mark to the government. நான் யோசிப்பேன், இவரு யார் மார்க் கொடுக்கறதுன்னு. கோல் போச்சு. அப்படியே பட்ஜெட் பேசி நான் கொடுக்க ஆரம்பிச்சேன். இந்த பட்ஜெட் 6 மார்க் தான் கொடுப்பேன். எப்படி 6 மார்க் நீங்க தீர்மானிச்சு அவன் கேட்க மாட்டான். யார் கேட்க மாட்டா? panelist will not ask me, that person will not ask me, சார் எப்படி சார் 6 கேட்க மாட்டார். எப்படி சார் 9 எனக்கு நான் எப்படி தீர்மானிச்சிருப்பேன்னு நினைக்கிறீங்க? அன்னைக்கு காலையில இருந்து 6 மணினா 6. இந்த மாதிரி ரேங்க் கொடுக்குறவங்க இருக்காங்க. இந்த மாதிரி அந்த ரேங்கே ஒரு எப்படி கொடுக்குறாங்கன்னு தெரியாது. இந்த வருஷம் பட்ஜெட்டுக்கு நான் வந்து 6 மணி 6ன்னு கொடுத்தேன். எங்க டீமுக்கு தெரியும், ஏன்னா நான் 6 மணிக்கு எழுந்தேன் பட்ஜெட் அன்னைக்கு. இந்த மாதிரி ரேங்கிங் எல்லாம் பார்க்காதீங்க. Why I'm driving this point to you, criticizing even myself. You would have seen many places. Why? You should not go by my words. You should. All that I'm trying to do in this budget presentation is to make you think. The effort is not to follow me. The effort is to make you think. That is the reason somehow I'm trying to make this interesting. So, the 1,52,000 crore, according to me, 3 marks. How did you determine, sir? How did you determine? இப்பதான் டிசைட் பண்ணேன். இப்பதான் டிசைட் பண்ணேன். Right. Let me go to the next allocation. So you decide the mark. There are agree students here. There are non-agree students here. There are TNPC aspirants here. There are UPSC aspirants here. The future administrators, you decide for the budget, 1,52,000 crore, whatever the allocation, what rank you have to provide. Let me come to the next part of discussion. Next is employment and skilling. It is skilling, not killing. It is skilling. This is a very, very important sector that requires attention. This is a challenge to the government. This government actually came with a promise to provide job. This government came with a promise to provide job. அப்படியே டிப்ளமேட்டிக் அதை எப்படி மாத்துறாங்கன்னு சொல்றேன். வார்த்தை அப்படியே மாறிட்டே வரணும். புரியுதா? அப்சர்வ் பண்ணணும். In 2014 they said I will provide jobs to the youth. கொஞ்ச நாள் கழிச்சு பார்த்தாங்க இது ரொம்ப கஷ்டமான ஜாப் ஆச்சு. ஃபர்ஸ்ட் क्वेश्चन எப்படி எழுதுவோம் எக்ஸாம்ல? பக்கா நீட்டா எழுதுவோம். அப்புறம் மிடில்ல போகும்போது ஒரே முடிஞ்ச அளவுக்கு நீட்னஸ் மெயின்டைன் பண்ணுவோம். கடைசி क्वेश्चन எனக்கே புரியாது நான் எழுதுறது. கரெக்டா? அந்த மாதிரி we will create job for the youths of this country. We will make India as a brighter nation, bright spot of the world. Super. நான் இப்ப பேசும்போது உங்களுக்கே ஒரு எனக்கே ஓட்டு போட்டுருவீங்க. போட்டாச்சு வந்தாச்சு ஓட்டு. Now I have a greater challenge to really provide employment. Then I try to introduce something. இப்படிடா fulfill பண்றது 2019 election. Then subsequently I have to answer. Let us bring skill India. Then skill India. Superb. Skill-ம் கொடுத்தாச்சு. But what was the impression? Why should I get educated to get skilled? ஸ்கில்ங்கிறது நம்ம மைண்ட்ல என்ன இருக்குன்னா ஐடிஐ பாலிடெக்னிக்னு இருக்கு. கரெக்டா இல்லையா? உண்மையா இன்ஜினியரிங் காலேஜ் போய் படிக்கிறோம். கரெக்டா இல்லையா? ஹலோ, நான் எல்லா குவாலிபிகேஷனும் சொல்றேன். பிகாம் கூட சொல்றேன், இல்ல சிஏ கூட சொல்றேன், எதுவா இருந்தாலும் பரவாயில்ல, லா கூட சொல்றேன். படிக்கிறோம், உடனே அப்படியே பிராக்டிஸ் பண்ண முடியுமா சுப்ரீம் கோர்ட்ல? அப்ப என்ன வேணும்? ஸ்கில் வேணும். அந்த ஸ்கில்ல எஜுகேட்டடுக்கே பிரிட்ஜ் பண்ண வேண்டிய கட்டாயத்துல கவர்மெண்ட் இருக்காங்க. சாரி, ஐ மீன் தமிழ். The government is compelled to provide a bridge. Try to understand from a matured way. So they transformed the providing job to, instead of job seekers, we'll create job creators. Changed it. Then Startup India came. Scheme by scheme, if you see for the past 10 years, many transformation not only happened in the scheme, in the mindset of the youngsters also. I was so happy. Recently, I went to a meeting of Your Story. Your Story is an entrepreneurial journal or whatever in the online, where they capture about the stories of entrepreneurs. Earlier, before 7 years, when I wanted to become an entrepreneur or do my profession, when I used to go, hardly 10 people will come. Startup, if you say, then you'll say, why I will go for employment. Now, if I say go to employment, he says startup. There's a transformation that has happened really on the ground. Because the efforts taken by the state government as well as center. Because no other job but to say this. Yes or no? எப்படியாவது இதையாவது கொண்டு வரணும் இல்லையா? So immediately, so this problem statement I'm trying to explain, because it's a, even if you become prime minister, it is not easy to resolve. Because what greater problem is educated unemployed, rank one problem. Educated unemployed, because you have invested on education, you have to take in the return on investment if you have some aspiration to do that. Two, that comes under VIP, வேலையில்லா பட்டதாரி. That is educated unemployed. Educated unemployed is a greater problem. How many of them agree? I am educated, see ACW, ACS law, unemployed. What will my mother say? டேய் கொஞ்சம் வேலைக்கு போடா, ஒரு 2 நாள் ஓகே, பேஷன் அது இதுன்னு சொல்லிட்டு ஏதாவது ஓட்டிக்கலாம். ஒரு வருஷம் ஆகுது, டேய் நிஜமாலே படிச்சியாடா, கொஞ்சம் வேலைக்கு போடா, சொல்லுவாங்களா மாட்டாங்களா? கொண்டா கழிச்சு வேலைக்கு போறோம்னா வீட்டுக்கு வராத, அப்புறம் வேற ஃபேஸ் எல்லாம் இருக்கு, அதை விட்டுருங்க. So this educated unemployed is a greater problem. Second problem, educated underemployed. Educated underemployed is another problem. Somebody getting educated as a PhD, doctorate, and works in a aggregation company to deliver products. Is it not a pain for the, don't you see a pain personally? I see a pain actually. His skill is something remarkable. He should be a professor. He should be a lecturer. But whereas he's just surviving. The person who has to contribute for the greater. Let's assume I got educated. If I am working in some aggregation company, this value will come to you. I am not delivering value to you. I assume that I am delivering value to you. If that is not happening, then educated and underemployed. Then third problem which can be resolved, uneducated, unemployed, and the fourth problem is uneducated. There's nothing called underemployed. We have to provide some opportunity for livelihood. The greater problem is educated, unemployed. How does the government try to bridge this? This scheme, before even I explain, I would give a ranking of 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. Why? Why is Mr. Sathya Kumar giving 7 out of 10? They have tried something innovative. This something is not in India, whatever comes, you should be careful. The legislator would have gone to some country, somewhere would have spoken to someone, would have found that practice is very good, then would have WhatsApped it to the respective ministry, then the ministry would have thought about it. This scheme that the government has tried to bring is already in existence in Europe. It's already in existence in Europe. In Europe, as per the European Union policy, if an educated is unemployed, minimum 1.5 years salary has to be credited to him every month. 1.5 years வரைக்கும் salary credit பண்ணணும். அவனை எப்படியாவது employ பண்ணணும். You go to countries like developed countries in Europe, their working model you should see. Why are they a developed country? First thing, their working model is because population is less. Primarily. அதனால ஈஸியா மேனேஜ் பண்ண முடியுது அவங்களால. அதனால India is a unique problem. I'm not saying that India can be transformed in a day. I'm not coming to that point at all. If I say that, it's all lie. But the best practice, how the government has evolved. The government has evolved through 3 schemes. My gut feeling, this could be one of your question. I don't know which subject it will come because the academy will know better. I'm just a guest lecturer. So I felt if I am an examiner, I will ask in some paper. இது எந்த பேப்பர்ல வரும் சான்ஸ் இருக்கு? Can somebody tell me? In the budget matter எதுல வர வாய்ப்பு இருக்கு? What is GS3? Economics and then governance. I don't know, but I'm trying to ask you. Be conscious about it. This is not wasteful exercise. That's economics, right? So here, your scheme A, scheme B, scheme C. In the scheme A, enna solrangana, what they are trying to say, first time employment, somebody is going. 1 month wage to new entrants in all formal sectors in 3 installments up to 15,000 rupees. Here, why did I give 7 out of 10? If the government would have said, we must encourage employment, like that if they say, that means no budget allocation. Here, government has taken pain to give 15,000 rupees as 3 installment through a model which is workable. That is also important, no? I will give and sollte kudukuren sollte kudukam poita. So kudukra mari irkan paakano budget la paakumbodhu. So scheme A, 1 month wage to new entrants in all formal sectors in 3 installments up to 15,000 rupees. அப்ப ஒரு installment எவ்வளோ? 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. They are saying it is expected to benefit 2 crore people, 2 crore youth of this country. Hats off, but it will benefit or not. It's a question of time. The devil is not in the announcement. Devil is not in the announcement. The scheme finds a place in the budget document. I would like to highlight so that you go and look at that scheme because I feel somewhere this question will come for sure. That's my gut feeling, but I don't know what is the reality. They have given an annexure for the scheme. So please go through the scheme. I'm referring a wrong book. Bear with me. This is a budget document. Every year you must buy, whether you're an administrator or a student, whatever. This is a budget document released by the taxman, which is the authentic document, which is there as part of the app, which they print it. Here, in page number 39, there is an annexure to Part A.
part A is the annual financial statement, right? For that, Prime Minister's package for employment and skilling. Under that, they are saying enrollment duration, expenditure duration, beneficiary, and central outlay. They say central outlay is about 2 lakh crore for this. That's the reason I gave 7/10, because there is a budget allocation in the first place. Just not an announcement. Here, Scheme A benefits 2 crore youth. Scheme B benefits 30 lakh youth. 30 lakh youth. Scheme C benefits 50 lakh youth. There's an internship program, 30 lakh youth. There's an internship program phase 2, 70 lakh youth. Upgradation of ITA, which is about 20 lakh youth. Like this, they're targeting 4 crore youths. You reserve the question later. I'm trying to get into the details. Reserve your questions. If you feel that you'll forget the question, please highlight somewhere. Because sometimes, when I used to be student, அப்படியே லெக்சர் நடந்திருக்கும் போது என்ன ஆகும்னா அந்த கொஸ்டின் கேட்கலாமான்னு இருக்கும், முடியும் போது மறந்துடுவேன். அதனால வந்து எழுதி வச்சுக்கிறது பெட்டர். You write, highlight it somewhere. Don't write a detailed paragraph about the question. Just highlight somewhere so that you don't forget. Now, this 4 crore youth has to be empowered. They are giving the scheme outlines. இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு 3 பேஜ்ல வந்து என்னென்ன கண்டிஷன் சொல்றாங்க. அந்த கண்டிஷன் அப்ளை தான் கஷ்டம். அதுல முக்கியமான கண்டிஷனே வந்து ஒரு ப்ரோக்ராம் அட்டெண்ட் பண்ணுமா. Employee, that is you, must undergo compulsory online financial literacy course before claiming the second installment. இந்த மாதிரி கண்டிஷன் இருக்கு. நம்ம என்ன பண்ணுவோம், ஆன்லைன் கோர்ஸ் செகண்ட் இன்ஸ்டால்மெண்ட் வாங்கணும், காலைல போட்டு விட்டு அது பாட்டு நெக்ஸ்ட் ஆன்சர் ஏதாவது இருந்ததுன்னா வாங்கி ஃபில் பண்ணுவோம் ABCDன்னு. கரெக்டா? சர்டிபிகேஷன் கோர்ஸ்லாம் அப்படிதான் பாதி பேர். So here, these conditions are also very helpful for you. Why are they giving that intervention of financial literacy course? Financial literacy இருந்தாதான் வேலையோட மதிப்பு தெரியும். கரெக்டா இல்லையா? அந்த financial literacy course அட்டெண்ட் பண்ணும்போது, இவ்வளவு டாக்ஸ் பே பண்ணுமா, இவ்வளவு financially literate இருக்கணுமான்னு தெரியும் போதுதான் வேலையோட அருமை தெரியும். வேலையோட அருமை எப்ப தெரியும்னா கல்யாணம் ஆனப்புறம் தான் தெரியும். நீங்க பாருங்க நிறைய பேர். கரெக்டா இல்லையா? அது வரைக்கும் முன்னாடி தெரியாது. After marriage only people will come to know. Similarly, only when you get the scheme, the second installment ke vaanganum neenga. First installment you go and join, they are going to give you. To get the second installment, you have to complete online financial literacy. And the man nariya conditions irukku. So this scheme doesn't come without a condition. That condition is not to stop you from getting, but to evolve you as an employee. Every intervention in the scheme is to evolve you as an employee or a workforce. So accordingly, I welcome the condition attached to the scheme. I have not gone into the details of the condition. Let me come to the next scheme. Scheme B, job creation in manufacturing. Job creation in manufacturing. It is also linked to first time employee. It is also linked to first time employee. First time I am becoming employee. The joy of first time employee is something significant. முதல் நாள் மட்டும் தான் ஜாய். அப்புறம் மேக்ஸிமம் 1 மாசம் இருக்கும். அப்புறம் கரெக்டான பாஸ் இல்லைன்னா எப்படா ஓடுவோன்னு இருக்கும். கரெக்டா இல்லையா? Not that you would have experienced. You must ask your parents or anybody who got exposed to the corporate world. Then you must understand. Corporate world is not equal to your administrative functions. It's very different. In administration, boss is not permanent. In corporate, until he is there, it is permanent. Correct, Alia? Because roles will be shuffled. That's the maker-checker control of the government. One person cannot continue for n number of years. So here, linked to first-time employee, incentive to both employee and employer for EPFO contribution in specific scales for the first 4 years. Specific scales for first 4 years. Bit complicated, I'll make you understand. Third, expected to benefit 30 lakh youth. Leave the benefit aspect, but understand what the government is trying to do. Government is trying to use the platform called EPFO, Employment Provident Fund Organization, where they are saying to the employer and the employee, boss, only when you take these employees, the first time hires into the EPFO record, then I will provide the incentive of under this scheme. Under this scheme, What is the government targeting? They are not targeting to make you a temporary employee, but they are targeting to make you a permanent employee. So that once you come under the EPF4 record, then from then onwards, your social security benefits are provided. It's a good sign or not? What's the problem with the employees of the aggregators? There's a Uber driver, Ola driver, the people work in Swiggy. What's the problem for them? Temporary. I'll give a classic example. Yesterday morning, I was traveling to Mumbai and then I came back in the night. Morning, I got up late. Okay, my flight is at 4:45. Then I booked the first plan was to actually take my vehicle and put it in my airport. But later, I got up late, about 10 to 15 minutes late. Then I decided that I'll book a Ola or whatever, Uber or Ola. The person comes, I told him that I have to go to airport bit early because 1 hour before you have to go. Otherwise, you have other problems at airport. Not that we cannot get a ticket, but that's different. But I thought we can be in advanced, at least 5 minutes before. So I went to the airport. On the way, speed, சரியான speed. செம ஸ்பீடு. ஸ்பீட்னா அந்த மாதிரி ஸ்பீடு. அப்ப வேணாம்னு சொல்ல முடியாது. அப்புறம் 5க்கு வந்துருவாரு. 10க்கு வந்தானா லேட் ஆயிடும். எனக்கு சீக்கிரமாவும் போகணும். கம்முன்னு இருக்க. Only prayers to the God. He must be about 23 years age. All that I was thinking is only one thing. About me, that is different. ஸ்பீடா போகும்போது யாரை பத்தி நினைப்போம்? நம்மளா நினைப்போம். கரெக்டா இல்லையா? ரைட். முன்னாடி இருக்க அந்த அந்த இது இருக்கு இல்லையா, ஃப்ரண்ட் சீட், அது முன்னாடியும் பின்னாடி போகுது. பிகாஸ் அது கரெக்டா I have to hold it. தென் ஸ்பீடா போறான். அவனை பத்தி நினைக்கிறேன் கொஞ்சம். இந்த பையன் காலையில ஓட்டுறான். about 325 இது கண்டிப்பா என்ன படிச்சிருக்கீங்க? ஏதோ ஒரு 12th ஏதோ படிச்சிருக்கான். பயங்கர ஃபாஸ்ட். நடுவுல வேற ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸோட வேற பேசிட்டே போறான். லவுட் ஸ்பீக்கர் போட்டு, நீ எங்க போயிட்டு இருக்க, நான் எங்க போயிட்டு இருக்கேன்னு சொல்லிட்டு இருக்கான் போன்ல. யோசிச்சுட்டு இருக்கேன், இவருக்கு சோசியல் செக்யூரிட்டி இருக்கா, இவருக்கு பிஎஃப் இருக்கா, இவருக்கு வந்து இன்சூரன்ஸ் இருக்கா, இவருக்கு என்ன பெனிஃபிட்ஸ் இருக்கு? அக்ரிகேட்டர்ல எதுவுமே கிடையாது. He just works for a day, correct or not? அந்த வெஹிக்கிளும் அவருக்கு கிடையாது. He just works as a driver, I suppose. I didn't ask any of the details. Then while getting down, I didn't have change. I gave 500 to him. 254 is the charge. மிச்சம் சொன்னேன், நீ மிச்சம் இல்லைன்னா நான் ஃபிளைட்டுக்கு போவேனா அதை பார்த்துட்டு இருப்பேன். சரி ஓகேடா, போயிட்டு எனக்கு கூகுள் பேடா கண்டிப்பா தோ வெளில போயிட்டு போட்டுறேன்னா காலைல கூட கால போடவே இல்லை. So I left it. So இந்த பேட்டர்னை பார்க்கும்போது அந்த ஒரு ஒர்க் ஃபோர்ஸ் பத்தி நான் நினைக்கிறேன். Does it actually comply with ILO, International Labour Organization? Does it comply with the rules and regulations framed by Albert Thomas with respect to ILO regulations? Answer is no. But still, these workforces are working where they are structured in such a way that there is no responsibility for the employer, but they are not coming under the social security. Here, the government has thought through about it. Where if they are first-time employee, if they are coming into it, let's assume all these aggregators, they can actually use this scheme B and try to bring social security for the employees. So accordingly, this is a wonderful scheme where they're trying to incentivize both employee and employer. Let me come to scheme C. Support to employers. Support to, அப்ப நான் அதான் சொன்னேன், இது வந்து போகும்போது யோசிக்கிறேன் உனக்கு எந்த ஸ்கீம் கரெக்டா இருக்கும்னு. பிகாஸ் பட்ஜெட் ஹஸ் கம் அண்ட் we are all looking at the schemes. அப்போ இவனுக்கு இந்த ஸ்கீம் பி கரெக்டா இருக்கும் நான் யோசிச்சேன். இபிஎஃப்ல வந்தானா அவனுக்கு இன்சூரன்ஸ், பிஎஃப் இதெல்லாம் அவனுக்கு யூஸ் ஆகும். ஸ்கீம் சி, லாஸ்ட் இந்த ஸ்கீம் வந்து கவர்மெண்ட் will reimburse EPFO contribution of employers. இதுல வந்து டார்கெட் வந்து எம்ப்ளாயர்ஸ். ஸ்கீம் சில சப்போர்ட் டு எம்ப்ளாயர்ஸ். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ரெண்டு எம்ப்ளாயீஸ். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் எம்ப்ளாயி, ஸ்கீம் பி எம்ப்ளாயி அண்ட் எம்ப்ளாயர். ஸ்கீம் சி எம்ப்ளாயர். That is whoever is providing the job. Job seeker support first ஸ்கீம்ல. Job provider, job seeker ரெண்டு பேருக்கு சப்போர்ட் ஸ்கீம் B ல. இதுல சப்போர்ட் டு த எம்ப்ளாயர். என்ன சப்போர்ட்னா இபிஎஃப்ஓ கான்ட்ரிபியூஷன். இபிஎஃப்ல வந்து எம்ப்ளாயர் எம்ப்ளாயி கான்ட்ரிபியூட் பண்ணும் இல்லையா, அதுல எம்ப்ளாயருக்கு 3000 rupees per month for 2 years the government will provide. Is it not a big allocation? 3000 boss, 3000 per month for 2 years. to ensure for the employees they pay. அப்ப நீங்க இப்ப வந்து many of the youths are working in aggregator, employment is created. Can the government claim as an employment? Answer me. No, they cannot claim it as an employment. What is employment as per ILO? What is employment as per International Labour Organization? I am a prime minister. I go and speak in World Economic Forum. I want to claim that I have provided employment to the youths of this country. I have to claim or not? I have to go and speak in World Economic Forum or not? Claim about the country's transformation in Viksit Bharat. I'll go and say, in the aggregators, more than 4 crore youths are working with what? With risk. Instead, another 5 years later, in the same World Economic Forum, I'm just giving you visuals of how it could happen. I go and claim, in the Employee Provident Fund Organization under the Government of India, 4 crore people have registered as employees who are the first hires in the country. This sounds good or that sounds good? This sounds good. Reason. This is with the social security package. That is without a social security package. Will ILO award me as a country for the first initiative or the second initiative? Second initiative. That is sustainable employment. So scheme C is all about incentivizing the employer with respect to guaranteeing employment through the social security program. So this is the 3 schemes of the government. Apart from this, normal Skill India program, they want to train about 20 lakh youth. 1,000 industrial training institutes will be upgraded to hub and spoke model. See, this ITA education has a greater potential in the country. The only thing that we don't recognize as society. You go to Singapore, you go to other Western worlds like Germany, people, they classify the youths into different category. And education model is different. For example, in Europe, if you see, or the Western worlds, if you see, you cannot go from one district to another district and get enrolled in a school. You registered in a particular canton, then you are eligible only for the education in that canton. Unless your parents have employment in that district, where you have to prove to the government that you will be there forever. So, ஒரு சீட்டுக்கு அவ்வளவு வேல்யூ ஸ்கூலுக்கு, இங்க ஃபீஸ் தான், கரெக்டா இல்லையா? So, considering it, the ITIs, the technical education has a greater respect in the Western world. But here, technical education has got democratized. I welcome it. But the IT education has to be upgraded. IT education has to be upgraded. That is the solution for village. That is the solution for the rural areas. Let us see what the government is trying to provide. They wanted to provide course content relevant to the skills and needs of the industry. Needs of the industry. In fact, it is a great opportunity for Tamil Nadu. So whenever you are from Tamil Nadu, and I'm sure majority of them from Tamil Nadu here, nowhere in the entire world you find this kind of access to education like Tamil Nadu. Whether you may like it or not like it, the government would have done better. That is different. Whatever may be your ideology. But let us see. I am the beneficiary of Tamil Nadu education system. Every district has access to technical education. Every district has access to medical education. Every district has access to legal education. Every district has access to schools, government as well as private. The debate may come why government has not got quality of education, but there is an access of education in the first place. You all agree? I may debate and fight with the government for quality of education, but in the first place, because of the government's effort, there is access of education. Next comes what kind of education? That leave that. But we have access, we have a platform of education. So, considering it, what we need is a upgradation of technological systems where we provide global knowledge to the students across. Today, YouTube actually educates the more students than the effectiveness of the education in the college. You all will agree. So, democratic system of technology has provided an opportunity. High level content is needed for industry orientation. We want to make content more interesting. More interesting. Every time when I come for a lecture, whether it is industry meeting or the top industrialist meeting or student or even school, let's assume if a school calls me to explain about the budget, I will try to meditate to see how to reach the budget to him. Maybe I'll give him 100 rupees in his pocket. I'll ask him what he will do. This is a visualization. So it is about taking the knowledge and creating a content for which the government is trying to encourage. So course content and design aligned as per the skills of the industry. This is about schemes of the government for skilling youth and employment. Why I gave 7th rank, 7 marks out of 10 for other 2 reasons. The loan is provided up to 7.5 lakh with a guarantee from the government promoted fund. So they are trying to provide 7.5 lakhs loan, where the guarantee is not provided by your relative or even your parents, but the guarantee for that 7.5 lakhs is provided by the government. It is expected to benefit about 25,000 students. The next loan scheme that they have announced, 2 loan schemes I can see in the budget document, is financial support for up to 10 lakhs. Financial support up to 10 lakhs for higher education in domestic institution. Note that word. Oh, loan, 10 lakh, I will go and study in USA. Not that you should not, domestic institution. Domestic institution. I think constitutionally what I will say may not hold good, but from the inspiration point of view, this will hold good. You have all the IITs and IIMs. My tax money and your tax money goes to them. Yes or no? Answer yes or no? Okay, after you go to IIT today and make a survey, ask how many people want to stay in India. In a batch of 60, even in a batch, you will find only hardly 10% of them want to stay in India. But 90%, 80% or 90% of the people wanted to move abroad. With my tax money, with the GST I paid, with the income tax I paid, this went to the Consolidated Fund of India. I'm just telling how it works. You paid GST, I paid GST, you paid income tax, I paid income tax. This goes to Consolidated Fund of India. From there, grants are provided to IIT. They will study in your money and my money. And there should be a policy to see to that they serve India for some time. I'm not even asking to serve for eternally. If you are looking at IIT as an option, I again told you, constitutionally, I may not be correct. Constitutionally. But definitely, this is a needed. That's the reason the government is saying, I will give loan. Don't go to US and study. I'll give loan. Study in the domestic institution. So the word domestic institution has a greater significance. Financial support for loans up to 10 lakh for higher education, not school education. For higher education in domestic institution, what they are trying to do, they will provide e-vouchers to 1 lakh students every year. You know why I reduced 3 marks out of 10? Because of this e-voucher. How will you provide e-voucher? To whom will you provide e-voucher? How will you categorize the people who will get the e-voucher? You are saying direct e-vouchers to 1 lakh students every year. What if 5 lakh people apply? Who are eligible under the scheme? How will you give 1 lakh priority? Is it based on the timing of application? Or is it based on reservation? Or is it based on demographic, that is geographical location? South to give low, north to give low. Everybody class pay pannuvinga and the 1 lakh. So there's a greater challenge of the government. And he vouchers, who will hand over? Your party people will come and hand over. Huh? Hello? You want to enhance your party image? Huh? No. Who will hand over the e-voucher? Always when I see voucher, scheme, they will come and help you. I always doubt whether executive will go and deliver it or somebody will influence from the party side, the executive, to deliver to whom they want. So there is a caution, that abundant caution need to be exercised whenever you talk about e-voucher. If they are talking about e-voucher, so how this e-voucher will be distributed? It should not lead to another scam. I hope you can understand the reason why I reduced 3 marks. There should be a cut plan where there should be a democratic principles and constitutional principles applied in allotting this loan. Otherwise, I'll be the first person to question in the court. I'll be the first person to question in the court. If, let's assume I want to implement this scheme, what is the guidelines I will provide is reservation. You may agree, you may not agree. That is different. But how will I bring the principles of equity? Unequitable distribution of the scheme. That is the only model available today. How that one, then otherwise the question will come now, to whom it is going? To whom are you allotting? It should not be a backdoor entry for many to access it. Power should not be a backdoor entry to violate Article 14 of the Constitution of India. Neither you should allow it or I should allow it. Maybe the distribution model you may not agree. I may even debate. I may even get affected. That's different. But you should ensure that the constitutional principles works in giving these e-vouchers. On what basis is the question? So we have to see. That is the reason I reduced 3 marks out of 10 for the employment and skilling. So I hope we have covered the second pillar. Let me move to the third pillar. I'm going to, other pillars are primarily about the programs and schemes. I'm just going to highlight about it. I have to come to the tax part so that you understand the same. Next is about inclusive human resource development and social justice. My dear friends, when the Constitution of India was brought, the greater challenge that was lying before the Constitutional Assembly was to call meeting. The greater challenge before the country was to bring the fabric uniting the country. So the founding fathers were very clear, irrespective of the economics, irrespective of the strata of the society they belong. Some may be from elite, some may be from the marginal, some may be from different village, rural setup or urban. Everybody formed part of the Constitutional Assembly. But they knew bringing social justice in action is the only way to unite this fabric of this country. Where the schemes that the government brings should go and reach all people. That's the reason this government was very clear. Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. That was the campaign. Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. Together for all, development for all. Or is it otherwise? Together for all, development for all. Now, here, the social justice concept that they're trying to highlight, I don't think they represent the social justice angle of reservation. What they're trying to highlight, it is about incentivizing the disadvantaged or marginal in the society. It's not about affirmative action. It's not about there is a reform in affirmative action. It's about incentivizing the marginal. So what they have done is, plan for endowment-rich states in the eastern parts covering Bihar, Jharkhand, West Bengal, Odisha, Andhra Pradesh for generation of economic opportunity to attain Vikshit Bharat. You will not find any announcement where Andhra Pradesh and Bihar is absent. Hello? Why? Is the question. Alliance partners. So somebody asked me in the interview, they all thought I will defend, I will say no, or I will say yes. I asked a simple question. A journalist asked me a question in a series of interviews. Why is that Bihar and Andhra Pradesh getting more allotment? They will get what? You become prime minister and 2 people are supporting you. If you don't support you tomorrow, you cannot be the prime minister. Are you okay? Are you okay? Why should we hide the reality? The fact of the matter is the coalition dharma. What is this? This is prevalent in the ancient time. Whether it is Pallavas or Pandyas or Cholas or it is Chandragupta Maurya, whether it is Chanakya who is advising the government, whoever is supporting you have to support back. Yes or no? Now here is a support extended by Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu and Bihar Chief Minister sending their MPs to support Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi. It is the coalition dharma to give them what they require as a first pie. Don't hesitate to speak about it. It is part of their agreement. Why should I hide? It is part of their agreement. You give this, I will do this. Otherwise, why should they remain with him? So it's in mint paper. When I spoke about it in the television, two people called me and criticized me. You should not speak like this. It is based on Andhra Pradesh Reorganization Act. As I don't know. They're saying, no, you should not speak. I said, what I should speak, what I should not speak. If you speak to normal people itself, they'll say, I will speak what I want. You speak to someone who knows Constitution. I said, you know what I told? I'll take your feedback. I only told, I'll take your feedback. That's all. I didn't say, I will not say, I will take your feedback. Next day, the feedback came in Mint. Mint has come out with the column saying, coalition dharma. If Mint says, they will agree. Sathya says, they will not agree. So I took the screenshot of it and sent him. No response. WhatsApp heroes. Mostly retired. So I sent him. And then they mentioned very clearly, so they got a due share because, so what you should understand, beyond your government scheme and things like that, if you ask me really, you tell me honestly, leave the politics away, leave the political economy away, let us analyze Andhra Pradesh situation in Bihar. Bihar, there's a migration of employment or not, laborers or not. Let us analyze. You are executive, okay? You should be apolitical. I belong to judiciary. I should be apolitical. If you have ambition, later point of time, being in the executive, then you be political. Okay? If you have no ambition, you remain apolitical. Only your work you do, then for which you got employed, which I came to this profession, then I should remain apolitical. Let us analyze. Bihar requires attention. It is under the aspirational district. We should not use the word called backward. Aspirational district. The government, lot of aspirational district. They've identified about 115 aspirational districts in. How many districts are there in India? First place. Exact figure you should know. Go to India data book. Not now. Leave it. I'm just trying to, because you are preparing for the examination. Some data points book is what I have seen in the UPSC people's hand. Data book is what they maintain. I don't know. My friends used to prepare. They used to have data book every year. I don't know. Okay, so where they will write how many districts are there in India, what is the population of India, what is the poverty line, like that. At least when I was preparing for economics in my CA, I used to have this data. After quote பண்ணி exam எழுதிடலாம். கரெக்டா? ஒரு சும்மா அந்த டேட்டா கோட் பண்ணா கரெக்டா இருக்க மாதிரியே இருக்கும் ஆன்சர். How many railway lines are there, how many trains are there, அந்த மாதிரி. கரண்ட் அஃபேர்ஸ் நினைக்கிறேன் அது. தெரியல அது என்னன்னு. Okay, so அதுல வந்து there is a data point. I think as of now, 750 districts are there in India. 750 districts. Exact number I don't know. Please refer it. Don't take my data because I just got flashed because I read somewhere. 750 districts, 115 districts are identified as aspirational district. And majority of these districts are in Bihar. So it requires attention. So okay, leave the coalition dharma. Let's come to Andhra Pradesh. How many people are from Andhra Pradesh? Andhra Pradesh. Nobody is there here? Okay. Andhra Pradesh. Whether it requires attention or not. Why? Capital illappa அந்த ஸ்டேட்டுக்கு. போன வருஷம்லாம் வேற கேபிட்டல். தமிழ்நாட்டுக்கு எது கேபிட்டல்? சென்னை. அதாவது டவுட் இருக்கா? ஆனா ஆந்திர பிரதேஷ்க்கு எனக்கு டவுட் இருக்கு. போன வருஷம் 4 கேபிட்டல். அதுக்கு முன்னாடி ஒரு கேபிட்டல். அதுக்கு முன்னாடி பிரிச்சப்ப கேபிட்டலே இல்ல. கேபிட்டல் இல்லாம இருந்து ஒரு கேபிட்டல் கொண்டு வந்து அந்த கேபிட்டலுக்கு அப்புறம் 4 கேபிட்டல் ஆகி இப்ப 4 கேபிட்டல் திருப்பி ஒரு கேபிட்டல் ஆகி ரீஆர்கனைஸ் ஆயிட்டே இருக்குமா? ஏதாவது ஒரு ஹோப் வேணும்ல பீப்புளுக்கு. தேர் ஆல்சோ அவர் பிரதர்ஸ் அண்ட் சிஸ்டர்ஸ். Actually, government has depleted them even in this budget because they should have announced Andhra Pradesh as special status. Is it because of the Andhra Pradesh people the state got bifurcated or because of the political economy? Political system. And it gets divided and now today they are suffering. So it has to be incentivized. The state has to be incentivized. You must, I think maybe, I don't know which paper it will come, or Andhra Pradesh Reorganization Act, some highlights you read and keep. I don't know which paper it will come. Huh? In the paper? Express, okay, whatever. So please go through it. Listen, please. This attention to Andhra Pradesh, actually, attention to Andhra Pradesh and Bihar should have been there before 5 years by the present union government. But today they are compelled. Earlier they were not compelled. Maybe my friend's state would have got benefited, Gujarat. But today it is an opportunity in the coalition. It's a coalition dharma. Otherwise that dharma will not prevail. Yes or no? So here, accordingly, Andhra Pradesh and Bihar has got the due share in the budget. In this inclusive human resource development and social justice, this pillar I will give about 8 marks out of 10. 8 marks out of 10. Because allocation of more than 3 lakh crore for schemes benefiting women and girls are provided. Women and girls. Gone are the days we spoke about women empowerment. Gone are the days we spoke about women development. We are in the era of women-led development. Women-led development. We need to ensure. There is a segment of rural population and urban population which has to harness the capacity and the leadership of women. Of course, in the Companies Act now you have mandatory women director as part of the Companies Act in boards. Government is trying to provide schemes in partnership with women in many of the schemes like Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, where woman has to own the property. Welcome sign. Gas connection, I think woman has to be it should be in the name of the woman, Ujjwala Yojana. So they are trying to empower the women by participating in the schemes of the government, where here government straight away allocating 3 lakh crore is a big boost for the leadership of women in the days to come. Women-led development. Women-led development. Women empowerment to women development to women-led development is what is the target of the government. I was just asking to one of my known person today. நம்ம ஊர்ல இப்ப பைக் எத்தனை women ஓட்டுறாங்க? ஆக்சுவலா பைக் ஓட்ட தெரிஞ்சாலும் ஓட்ட மாட்டாங்க. ஏன்னா இன்னும் ரெகக்னைஸ் பண்ண மாட்டேங்கிறாங்க. ஓட்ட தெரிஞ்சாலும் ஒரு சமயம் அவங்க வீட்டுல இருக்கவங்க ஐ திங்க் பைக் எடுத்து வெளியில விட்டு அந்த கொஞ்சம் தூரம் போன அப்புறம் ஓட்டுறாங்க. ரெகக்னைஸ் பண்ணல சொசைட்டில இன்னும். உமன் எம்பவர்மெண்ட், உமன் டெவலப்மெண்ட், உமன் லெட் டெவலப்மெண்ட் பத்தி பேசிட்டு இருக்கோம். சோ government has to push the transformation. The Vikshit Bharat can only be possible by transformation of women. I was reading a book, Strong Mother, Strong Son. So we need to have economic prosperity for the woman to transform this nation. Shared economic prosperity. Of course, it is happening in urban area. Today, the norm has come where both are working hard to support the not family, inflation. Support the inflation. Both are working hard. For what? Salary gets credited, 192 section 192 of the Income Tax Act 1961. TDS is deducted. After that, they come and spend GST. So two people are working in both women and men are working hard to support the inflation of the country. How great is it? So that means both are contributing to the taxation, and that's the reason tax base is increasing. Now opportunities are widened. Understand from the macro perspective. So here 3 lakh crore straight away push for the women is a welcome sign of the government. Then improving the socio-economic condition of tribal communities, covering 63,000 villages benefiting 5 crore tribal people. A much needed initiative. I don't know how many of them have visited tribal communities who are there in the Tamil Nadu, like near Salem, near Namakkal, Vellimalai, Kollimalai, all these places. Yeah. I had an opportunity in 2015 to do career counseling program as part of the government of Tamil Nadu. They nominated me in the Department of Adi Dravidar and Tribal Welfare. At the time, the department head, late Sri Archana Kalyani ma'am, she recently got deceased, Indian Forest Service. She nominated me to go to the rural places in a pro bono. So I used to travel every Saturday, Sunday to the rural places, that is this tribal places, and used to interact. Most of these kids, when I speak about the career counseling, they are not interested in CA, CWA, or medical. Many people are interested in medical, but most of them wanted to become IAS officer. One of the interaction which touched my heart, where I was interacting with a girl child while I was empowering on the career counseling, I asked her why you wanted to become IAS officer. She didn't have greater ideas about how the functioning of the government, nothing of that sort. All that she had idea, IAS means powerful. IAS means powerful, welcome. She knew about it. So she needs power. So she said, I want to become IAS officer, sir. For what? Sir, first thing, I want to build toilets in my village. I said, you can become MLMP. He said, I am not interested, sir. They are all corrupt. 9th standard student, studying in a school under the Adi Dravidar and Tribal Welfare Department. You find the department in Yelilagam, near that Avin. Yeah, that's the first floor. So that department takes care of this, and there is a centrally sponsored schemes and state sponsored scheme that goes to them. And this, when I heard, and I asked one more thing, why? Nothing, sir. My neighborhood, one family, sir, her dad expired because there is no hospital facility. By the time we took him to hospital, so I need hospital facility. To bring all these things, I have an ambition to become IAS officer. This is the situation of the tribal community even today. We still have this issue, the reach of the government schemes or any of the facility to the tribal community. So by looking at it, the ambition plan of the government, 63,000 villages. 63,000 villages, not people. How many villages are there in Tamil Nadu? You're all aspiring to become administrator. Only Tamil Nadu, tell me. How many villages are there? How many panchayats are there? How many villages are there? How many panchayats are there? Roughly 16,000 villages. How many panchayats would be there? Answer me. 12,000 roughly, if I'm not wrong. 12,065 or whatever. I don't know the accurate number. 12,000 panchayats. I don't know how this proportion works. 16,000 villages, 12,000 panchayats. But 12,000 villages in Tamil Nadu alone. So 63,000 villages is a great transformation what the government is trying to do. But 63 villages benefiting 5 crore tribal people. How much allocation is a question? 5 crore tribal family. How much is the allocation? How they are going to reach that scheme or the plan? I don't see in the budget. It's just an announcement. This is 0 marks. This is 0. This scheme alone is 0 marks. That is Pradhan Mantri Jan Jatiya Unnat Gram Abhiyan. The allocation should be specific on what micro level the transformation will happen. Not just fund alone. Handing over the fund to the department doesn't suffice. Whether you are going to develop sports development in the tribal kids, at least tribal people in Tamil Nadu have access to all this education. If you go to Northeast, the situation is even more different there. So I think more interventions are needed for the tribal. Next, this is an important transformation which found attention in the inclusive human resource development and social justice. More than 100 branches of India Post Payment Bank will be set up in the Northeastern region. What is the India Post Payment Bank? Post offices, roughly about 1,35,400 post office were supposed to be closed down in 2014. There was one CA from Hyderabad who wrote a letter to the Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi and who said, why can't we think about converting the post office? There is some portal called mygov.in, mygov.in. He wrote a letter to the government, and that's what the idea, they say, got translated into India Post Payment Bank. You can go and check the history. That India Post Payment Bank, 1,35,400 village, 1,35,400 post offices connecting about 7 lakh villages or something in the country, was supposed to be closed down. But today, inclusive banking has been brought in because they use the network of postal office. Today, postal offices are not postal office, they are banks. So this is connected to the rural parts of the country. And Amazon of India can be brought by government. Only they are lacking will, because post offices are also logistics facility. Think about it in a broader level. 1,35,400 spots for delivery. Why are they not being leveraged by the government is a question. So this 1,35,400, roughly about 100 branches they want to set up India Post Payment Bank newly in northeastern region. Like, don't forget, Nagaland, Sikkim, Meghalaya is our country. Is our country. Okay, right. Next. I spoke about the Andhra Pradesh allocation of 15,000 crore. That is not sufficient. It requires more. And next year also, they will highlight about Andhra Pradesh. They will highlight about Bihar. And Tamil Nadu will say, name is not appearing. Okay, right. So next 5 years, there will be 2 states whose name will be heard. Andhra Pradesh, Bihar. You also will become part of the government somehow. Through your exams, you will write and you will become part of the government. That time, when you are hearing Andhra Pradesh and Bihar, don't be surprised. Remember me. 5 years, you will find Andhra Pradesh and Bihar. After 2000, next government, let's suppose 5 states help the Prime Minister, then 5 states name will be there. 10 states, then 10 states, or 1 state contributing absolute coalition, that 1 state, either through ministership or through allocation. You got the point? Now the question is, you want ministership or allocation? You are a chief minister. You are sending MP. You want ministership or allocation? Hello? Allocation. What is that I'm going to do by giving ministership to my party workers? As a chief minister, I am answerable to my people to build. So no problem. You keep all the position. Give me what? Allocation. That's what is happening now. That will happen perennially if the coalition government is there. And nothing wrong, that's a coalition government. So I understand with the maturity. Don't go beyond it because there's no logic to it. Why? That's how it is. That's all. எப்படி கொடுக்கலாம் கூட கேட்க முடியாது. ஏன்னா அவங்க கவர்மெண்ட் ஃபார்ம், நீங்க வேணா கவர்மெண்ட் ஃபார்ம் பண்ணுவீங்க, உங்களுக்கு கொடுக்குறோம். Simple. Simple logic. Why are you standing on the other side and asking me to provide support? Sir, people are affected. There is a special attention and not people are affected. What applies to Kashmir citizen will apply to, citizen of India who is in Kashmir will apply to citizen of India who is residing in Tamil Nadu with respect to individual schemes. Is government saying Mudra scheme is not applicable to Tamil Nadu? Or Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana is not applicable to Tamil Nadu? It is not Tamil Nadu based scheme, but it is citizen based scheme. So understand with that maturity. Maybe for Tamil Nadu it is not elected, but still. Let me come to what is the next pillar? 4th pillar or 5th pillar? 4th pillar. Manufacturing and services. I'm not going to take too much time. Manufacturing. What is the primary problem industry faces today? Please tell me the problems. Raw material, okay. Then land, okay.
Mismatch between skill labor.
Mismatch between skill labor, I'm trying to rectify. What is the major problem of the industry? GST. Simple using. What is the major problem of the industry? GST. Sir, why, sir? I don't know how many of them of your parents are doing business. Entrepreneurship, kada, chinna, small shops, how many of them? What business he is into? Motor. Steel. Go and ask them what is the problem. Okay, go and ask today at 7 o'clock or 7:30 after you go home. Whom are you working? Ask your father, whom are you working? You are working for me or for the government? In the name of working for your family, he is actually working for the government. How? Revenue, அதாவது ஒரு பிசினஸ் நடத்தினா எவ்வளவு மார்ஜின் வரும்னு நினைக்கிறீங்க? ஒரு ஐடி கம்பெனி நடத்துறீங்க, 100 ரூபாய் மார்ஜினா? 16% இல்ல 12% வரும். ஸ்டீல் பிசினஸ் பண்றாரு, எவ்வளவு மார்ஜின்? 100 ரூபாய் போட்டு இன்வெஸ்ட் பண்ணா எவ்வளவு மார்ஜின் வருதுன்னு கேளுங்க. 3% இல்ல 4% வரும். எவ்வளவு? ஆனா கவர்மெண்ட்டுக்கு எவ்வளவு கலெக்ட் பண்ணி கொடுக்குறாரு ஜிஎஸ்டில? ஹலோ, கம்பேர் பண்ணலாமா? நீங்க கஸ்டமருக்கு ஒரு பொருள் விக்கிறீங்க. ஓகே, ஃபார் த பர்பஸ் ஆஃப் அதர் பீப்புள் who are not from Tamil Nadu, you are selling a product. Let's assume I sell this iPad. I am an iPad dealer. By putting 100 rupees for buying this iPad, selling it by keeping certain margin, many players are there in the market. I cannot price it high. I have to price it within the limit or competitive. But GST is not competitive. Whether he sells or I sell, based on the price I sell, more I sell, more GST. More I sell, more GST. And it is not 3%. 18% you collect from a customer and cannot keep it in your pocket but give it to the government. Every businessman has become agency for the government to collect taxes. Tax department alone is not. Tax department வந்து இப்படி பார்க்கணும். நீங்க visualize பண்ணுங்க. Income tax department, GST department. கீழ அவங்களோட டிபார்ட்மெண்ட் ரீஜன் லெவல்ல இருக்கா? ஒரு ரீஜன்ல பிசினஸ் பீப்புள் இருப்பாங்களா? அவங்க எல்லாம் டாக்ஸ் கலெக்ட் பண்ணி ஆன்லைன்ல கட்டிட்டு இருக்காங்க. Department is saying, oh wow, revenue is increasing. And finance minister comes and says, this month GST collection has increased with a pride. GST collection pride ஆ சொன்னா தோத்துறோம் கவர்மெண்ட் சொல்லி இப்ப இனிமே டிக்ளேர் பண்ண மாட்டேன்னு சொல்லிட்டாங்க. GST collection ஏறி இருக்கு, இன்கம் டாக்ஸ் கம்மியா இருக்கு, என்ன அர்த்தம்? Answer me no. Rich people are taxed less, poor people are contributing more. Correct or not? If every month if I am going to say GST collection has increased 1,70,000 crore, then immediately like people like me, what I will do? Unfortunately, opposition is not doing. எவ்வளவு சூப்பர் பாயிண்ட் இருந்து தெரியுமா? GST collection is increasing. That means poor people are suffering. This is the campaign. Why I am giving this example? GST contributed by the masses, and every businessman has become an agent of the government. If he can become agent of the government to an extent of 5% of the GST limit, but you are actually in tire industry, in the tire la maathringala car ku, how much is the GST? Tire 28. How much? 28% is the tire. If you are selling tire, Apollo tire, Bridgestone, if you see bill, you will see 28%. His margin how much? பாவம் 4%. எவ்வளவு? மொத்தமா what is he collecting from the customer? 32% is collecting on the price. On that 32%, what is the margin he can keep? The 4%. Balance 28% to whom? Government. That means he's working for the government, but he's not government servant. You got the point? Understand the logic of it. So you have a unique problem of the industry. Sir, now immediately, sir, even before earlier regime, somebody was knowledgeable, immediately asked me, excise duty was there, VAT was there. That was not visible. That was not anything that we don't do visibly. We think that we are not contributing. Here, in the bill only, we'll find GST. அப்படியே சொலையா தெரியுது 28%. அதை எடுத்து அப்படியே கவர்மெண்ட் கொடுக்குறீங்க. அதுல சென்ட்ரல் ஆல்சோ இஸ் சைலண்ட், ஸ்டேட் ஆல்சோ இஸ் சைலண்ட். புரியுதா இல்லையா? GST வச்சு பேசலாமே. GST வச்சு they can speak or not. GST collection has increased means state can very well declare GST collection is increasing, poor people are suffering. In that half of the portion you are only getting, they will say yes or no. அதனால silent. You also remain silent, I will also remain silent. So 28%, 14% goes to CGST, 14% goes to SGST, state. So accordingly, the pain today is for the GST. I'm not saying GST is a pain, but reduce GST is what I'm trying to say. You are called to the finance minister, see to that the tax base in the country increases. You are a finance secretary. You are with a complex country. You are not in a simple country. You are in a complex country. You are sitting on the table. What is the challenge? What is the solution that has to come to the table? Increase the tax base, reduce the GST, incentivize the MSME. This is the mantra. Tell me the mantra. Increase the tax base, reduce the GST, incentivize the MSME. Can you tell me the mantra again? Increase the, look at this, increase the tax base, reduce the GST, incentivize the MSME. Don't forget this throughout your life whenever you look at the manufacturing sector. My dear friends, manufacturing in this country is not done by large corporates. Manufacturing in this country is contributed by the micro, small and medium enterprises who generate 94% of employment opportunity. If MSMEs are contributing to the extent of 94% of employment opportunity, then you're going to come and ask me, what is their contribution to the corporate tax? But I told you, no, corporate is not a bad word. Even in a corporate, small tiffin seller would register a company would also be there. Correct? Company in Tata or big corporates mattum dhaan varuvangala illa na oru startup Sathya Kumar has started a small company. Mr. Suman has started a small company with his 2 directors. I don't know him. I just came to know about his name. Don't think immediately, oh, this guy is knows to me. He's a binami for him. Then prohibition of binami properties will apply. I don't know him, but ingala vandha visaricha. So point here is the MSMEs has to be incentivized. How do we incentivize? There's a problem in your hand. What is the solution? You have the solution. I gave you that mantra. That mantra you have to apply to MSME. Reduce the corporate, reduce the GST. MSME ki special package varano. MSME நீங்க எந்த GST வாங்கினாலும் 5%ங்க. எந்த ப்ராடக்ட்லயும். நீங்க இந்த டர்னோவர் கிராஸ் பண்றீங்களா? அப்போ நார்மல் ரேட்டுங்க. அப்போ MSME க்கு காம்படிட்டிவ்னஸ் கொண்டு வரணுமா வேணாமா? We have to bring competitiveness to MSME. A large corporate, large company in India and a small startup, is it equal? Are they having same economics or word இருக்குல்ல? அந்த word என்ன? ஒரு phrase. ஒரு phrase. People who are economics graduate. Economies of scale. Is the economies of the scale of the large company equal to small company or micro company, micro enterprises? I am starting a new tech company. Am I equal to Infosys? Am I equal to Infosys? Then should the country not support me the way they support Infosys with the corporate tax? Yes. So what they can do? They can bring a special package for MSME to say, boss, I understand, to become competitive with a large corporate, I'll try to reduce based on turnover up to 5 crore, whatever the products you produce, we will have either nil GST or exempt or whatever, so that you come out of the GST, make your product competitive, increase your turnover, then come to the competition. Super idea va? சொல்ல நல்லா தானே இருக்கு, ஆனா இம்ப்ளிமெண்ட் பண்ணுறது கஷ்டம். யாரு கஷ்டம்? கார்பரேட், டாப் கார்பரேட்ஸ். Supreme Court came against electoral bond. Hello, that is the difficulty. Understand the pattern in which the democratic system function from a helicopter view. So we have to give attention to the MSME. Let us come and see what is there in the budget. First, the government. So next important thing is credit taxes. You go to the bank, the banker will say no loan. For a startup, how will you get a loan? No turnover only. How will you get loan? Who will give guarantee? First guarantee should be provided by the government only. I guarantee this fellow. I know he will do well. Yes or no? Who has to give? But the same government only when I was running, bring guarantee. Who will you go and get the guarantee? Hey, நீ guarantee கொடுக்குறியாடா? டேய், உன்னை பத்தி எனக்கு தெரியும்டா. திருப்பி காசு கொடுக்க மாட்டாடா. என்னடா புடிப்பா? உன்னை பத்தி தெரிஞ்சனால தான் நான் கேரண்டி கொடுக்க மாட்டேன். ஓகே, அம்மா ப்ளீஸ், அப்பா நான் பிசினஸ் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்றேன். டேய், உன்னை வேலைக்கு போக சொன்னா இல்லையா? உன்னை பத்தி நல்லா தெரியும்டா. என்கிட்ட வாங்கின 1000 முதல்ல கொடுறா. So who will give guarantee? Guarantee has to be provided by people who don't know you. Correct? They only can provide guarantee. Government doesn't know about you. So he has to give guarantee. Because you have no history of turnover, you have no history of GST, you have no history of default. Can the government give guarantee to people who absconded from the country by not paying the loan? But you have no history, so government has the opportunity, without violating the administrative procedure, they can try to support you by categorizing you as startup or whatever. So that's where credit guarantee scheme for MSMEs in the manufacturing sector has been announced. There's a TRED scheme. I'm not getting into the details because business orientation, where you have a receivable. See, you next problem. Government supports you, incentivizes you. You sell the product. After selling the product, immediately payment will come. Only in the restaurant you make payment. In the business, immediately payment will come for data. When it will come? It may not even come. What is that? Why I respect and salute business people, you know. Sitting in an office and working for someone is easy. Running an organization, running our own collection is a greater difficulty. What he loses, you will ask, sir, then government on non-collection, it loses money or not? Sir, government is selling, the businessman is selling steel. My dear friends, government doesn't lose at all. You know why? When you are raising invoice by doing service or selling a product to a customer, government says you remit the GST in advance before you collect. Did you understand or not? You are going to collect after 90 days. That's not my problem. You raised invoice or not? Pay me now. Before even collecting from the customer. So here is an MSMEs are going to the banker, getting working capital loan for instead of running business, they are paying GST to the government. Loan is borrowed for GST. Did you understand? That is the reason I told you, for manufacturing industry, especially MSME, the pain is GST. There need to be a larger reform around it. So there's a TRED scheme. Now, this could be one of the questions from the manufacturing industry, which I foresee as a larger implication, and definitely it can be one of the examination question, is what my gut feeling. In any of the subjects, I don't know which subject. There is one Mudra scheme. Micro Units Development Refinance Agency. When I spoke about this scheme in 2016 in Doordarshan, many people called up and said, this is not going to work out. The government is only trying to fool around because they're not going to give this loan. But today, nobody is making that campaign because it has benefited many people around the country. The largest beneficiary of the entire scheme, which state? Mudra scheme, which state got the highest benefit? Tamil Nadu. Because Tamil Nadu is the most industrial state. So they got the loan. And which state paid the loan properly and appropriately? Tamil Nadu. Here is an announcement. Out of all the state, the compliance regime of Tamil Nadu is one of the best. Here people will not borrow. People will not immediately take action. Once they take action, they will be sincere. It's very different. So 20 lakh, that is under Mudra, there are sub schemes. Sishu, Kishore, Tarun. This Hindi word, I don't know what it means. Sishu means, I think, micro. Tarun? Kishore. Okay, I'll explain the limit, but I'm telling you the meaning. Kishore, Tarun.
Kishore means like and teenagers and
Okay.
and Tarun means adult.
Right. 3. Micro, small and whatever. These 3 schemes, 50,000 is Sishu. Kishore is 50,000 to 5 lakh. Tarun is 5 lakh to 10 lakhs. Government is saying under the budget that whoever got 10 lakhs loan under Tarun, paid it properly, will get enhanced a limit of 20 lakhs. 20 lakhs, is it a good credit for the micro enterprise or the people who are getting? Now, loan is not the beauty of the scheme. This beauty of the scheme is it does not need any collateral. I told you, no, hey, please, guarantee kudra. No need. You apply online. If the banker feels he can give, he will give. So 20 lakh is a good credit access for the micro enterprises in the country, a welcome sign, and it's a great opportunity. Next important, which will be very will be welcomed by all of you. The government is planning to provide rental housing with dormitory type accommodation for industrial workers in triple P mode with VGF support. Many of the employees who come, migrant employees who all work in, you have to see their state of affairs. Not so great. My office is in Aryapuram, and there are some restaurants where people work. At night time when I used to walk, I can see many people staying in a dormitory type where it is very congested and they are not provided proper stay accommodations. All that they earn is about 8,000, 4,000, 5,000. For the price rise, this amount is nothing. So there is an effort by the government to bring out rental housing. It is rental housing only. Please understand. It's not free accommodation. You would have been more happy to people who listen free accommodation. But they are not saying that. They are realistic. So say rental housing with a triple P model, public-private partnership. The next important scheme under the present manufacturing, wherein I will give 10 out of 10. In the same manufacturing thing, 10 out of 10. This sub-scheme. This is a scheme where 500 top companies will be selected. 500 top companies will be selected, and 1 crore youth will be skilled for 5 years. In 5 years, sorry, not for 5 years. In 5 years. 5 years, the target is how many? 1 crore, my dear friends. 1 crore in top 500 company. Not all companies. 500 company. Here is a responsibility for 500 company in India to skill 1 crore youth. It is a responsibility. It is sheer responsibility. 500 company, which all name can come. Tatas will come, Infosys will come, Adanis will come, Ambanis will come, top technology companies will come, manufacturing companies will come, foreign companies will come. It does not say Indian company, foreign company, top 500 company. The top, how are we going to classify? It is based on BSc, or it is about turnover or revenue. Those details I have to look into, but top is top. If it is on turnover, fine. See, when I say turnover, not necessarily all the companies need to be listed. So listed company will not come. If I am the finance minister and the finance secretary, ideally I will not bring those companies that are listed in there. Because that's not the criteria I will look at. What I will look at as a criteria is the turnover. 5,000 crore company coming in the top 500. How much value chain will that company carry? Value chain. Take for example Hyundai. You have assembly unit, you have a component unit, you have a manufacturing unit attached to the MSMEs attached. So how much employment I can generate? Not employment, training to you to be an employee. And it is an opportunity for India to become a global HR hub. Why? If I train you from Hyundai, there are automobile companies in Germany or not? So I trained you. What is the problem in getting employment abroad? What is the problem? You are a fresh graduate. Will you get employment in abroad? Who actually sends you later when you join employment? Company sends you. Company to company you go. After you go there, you shift the employment. Correct? Then you become an NRI. Then you become NRI. And when you become NRI, first is when you come to India, what I will see if you're an NRI, they'll carry mineral water bottle like this. Mineral water bottle like this. They'll not carry like this. They'll carry like this. Everywhere, wherever they go, they'll carry mineral water bottle. Now, I'm just giving an example how to identify as NRI. Don't look at his passport. Don't look at his bank balance. Don't look at the accounts he holds. Look at the way he holds the mineral water bottle. So here, you have to have a bridge to become a global, to harness the global opportunity. The first step is to ensure the 1 crore gets trained under 500 companies. It is their responsibility to see to that they become accessible to the entire world as a global skill. Look at the larger plan of the government. இப்போ என்ன பிரச்சனைனா நீங்க நினைக்கிற மாதிரி தான் கவர்மெண்ட் நினைக்கிறாங்களான்னு தெரியாது. நான் நினைச்சுக்கிறேன் இதெல்லாம் இருக்கும். பண்ணலாமா பண்ண முடியாதா விட்டுருவோம். இப்ப இருக்க கவர்மெண்ட் விட்டுருவோம். இந்த access, if we have this access, you are the secretary, I am the legislator. When we are discussing, what will you do with this structure that they created? Definitely we will think or not. How to, we will say, observe them and provide 2-year term. Best performers, you send them to abroad. சொல்லவே முடியாது. அடுத்த கிரைட்டீரியா. இப்ப இந்தியால நிறைய பேர் இருக்கணுமா, வெளிநாட்டுல போயிட்டு நிறைய பேர் ஒர்க் பண்ணி இந்தியா காசு அமிச்சா ஓகேவா? ஆன்சர் மீ. இந்தியால நிறைய பேர் இருக்கணும். You also need more people to go and work in abroad, build the skill platforms everywhere, make India acceptable, become competitive in that. Gujarat people, Tamil people, you compete with yourself and bring more platforms everywhere around the world where Indian employees are acceptable. That is also an important. So India can become a global HR hub, for which the government with 500 top companies, 1 crore youth getting trained for 5 years, for this allowance has to be provided or not. Has to be provided or not. How much we can provide? Don't tell me the figure what is quoted in the budget by looking at the Google. I am asking you as an administrator, how much you can provide? You're unveiling this plan. What will be your allotment? You just tell me some number now, boldly. No, that is for the holistic. See, it has to be a workable plan. For one training I provide. What's your name? What's your name? Aditya. Aditya, I recruit him in for this one of the 500 company. For recruiting him, should government provide something to me? Or to Aditya? Both? So you will 500 top companies are waiting for government to give the 3,000 rupees. Yeah, please. Aditya requires incentive because he cannot expect that from company. It is not that they have to pay the company, so the company pays them. Either the model should be, look at it as an administrator, workable plan is what we are discussing. So they will pay to Aditya and company will put extra cost in training him. Etiquette training, that training, this training, personality training. 1 year he has got caught in that company. It should be a moral responsibility. Let me tell you, one company which I like is Tata. One company which I always appreciate is Tata. Tell me, where does the ultimate profit of Tata go? Ultimate profit of Tata, all the group company. It goes to charity. It goes to charity. So please, any corporate, the word corporate is not a bad word. There are companies like Tata, there are companies like L&T. L&T, is it managed by any promoter? It is a professionally managed company. So word as a corp, that's the reason I was halting to make you understand. Word corporate is not bad. So there are corporates with a social responsibility. There are corporates with a trusteeship model. So here is a model of Tata where the charity goes to Cancer Institute, Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Science Advancement. So many social projects are run by the Tata only because of the profit they consolidated in Tata Sons. So here, Tata, let's assume Aditya gets trained in Tata Power. What's your graduation? BTech EC, Electronic Communication Engineering. Electronic Communication Engineering. Exactly, you will be having a fitment in power industry or not. Tata Power. Somewhere some electronic component will be there or not. He has some training. Aditya comes to Tata, gets empowered. I pay him also. I give the brand of Tata also. And in the bridge, I connect him to the global HR also. Where he has worked for 1 year. Can he not be migrated abroad? Can he not be useful in India? Answer is yes. If the same Aditya gets graduated, goes and applies by resume, the first thing there, he is a fresher. You have no experience. How will I have experience? Fresh graduate, எப்படி experience இருக்கும்? எப்படி இருக்கும்? All that you have experience. Everybody would have faced this somewhere. Initial times when I actually started my practice and things like that, when I go and give my profile for some work of tax or whatever, you have experience. Experience தான் வந்திருக்கேன் தேடி. Experience தான் ஆபீஸ் உட்கார்ந்திருப்பேன். கொடுத்தா கூட குறுக்காட்டி போ. Nowadays I don't go out of the office at all. Assignment should come to my table because I have experience. Or at least my age got advanced. What does it mean? The experience certificate matters, and that with using which he starts the employment. That is the idea of the government. They are pushing the problem of the government to the corporate. They're pushing the problem of the government to the back. They're trying to address the larger issue for the youth, what called experience. I think it's a wonderful thing, but more reforms has to happen. If I am the government, I'll fine tune the scheme year on year to increase number of company and bring more people into the system of recruitment. How this recruitment will happen? Again, it should be constitutional. It should be constitutional. Why it should be constitutional? Next challenge comes. It is government scheme. I give 5,000. Your money and my money. There should be a mechanism. Always, when I speak about a program, immediately think like me. Whether it is constitutional, how is the government going to pay this? There should be a mechanism. Who will go? Party person will deliver. The party in power will deliver the scheme. I will not allow. It has to go through a proper government mechanism. That's where your administration role, that's where the scheme has to be broadened to include everybody and everyone. How to bring that inclusiveness is the next challenge. So it's the government will try to bring some mechanism. Merit cannot be the word. According to me, merit can never be equal. Merit as a word can never be equal. You can never bring equality in merit. Sathya coming from a village can never be equated with somebody who is studying in the hub of the city. My English and his English may not be equal. So how will you equate me? So there should be a mechanism. If somebody speaks about merit now, when I used to study, I used to always think this perspective. I'm not equal to anybody. Neither I'm inferior to anybody. My facility, what I had in a suburban or a village, I used it to come up. In fact, when I used to start my career, started my career, my English word, some of the English words I don't know. Instead of thinking, I used to say thoughting. Good word, no? Thoughting. I was thoughting. Oh, thoughting me. After that, somebody corrected it. Not thoughting, it is thinking. But the point is, you cannot equate. Probably I didn't get a right English teacher, or probably they didn't inspire me with English. How can I equate a rural kid with an urban kid? Equity can be tried. Equality never possible. So merit is a word which has its own definition in different forms. I will never accept something called merit. We are trying to bring mechanism to say it is merit. You got it? So here we have these 500 companies who are trying to provide an opportunity for the youth, 5,000 per month, along with one-time assistance of 6,000 through the CSR fund of the company. Urban development, not much. According to me, it is 4 points out of 10, 4 marks out of 10. That is, you look at why 0 mark. Stamp duty is one classification. Encouraging. See, encouraging. I encourage you to become IAS officer. Like that. Encouraging states to lower stamp duty for properties purchased by women. Stamp duty is a subject matter of the state. Who are you to encourage? Who are you to encourage? Does it come under a list? The word, if it was directing, then it is unconstitutional. Or we are lowering stamp duty for purchasing property by women. It is unconstitutional. They are using very diplomatic word which will pass through the constitutional test called encouraging. Encourage. I encourage the state to reduce the stamp duty. Stamp duty reduce panna state revenue eppadi irukum. State is not concerned about women or men. State is concerned about the revenue. Already GST has taken away half of the revenue of the manufacturing state. Only manufacturing states are affected. Consuming states are enjoying. Consuming states are Uttar Pradesh, 22 crore population. Consuming daily. Consumption, that state gets the benefit because of the GST coming in. It tilted the model. But manufacturing states are at loss, for which compensation cess is acting as a bridge to compensate to the states. That's where the former chief minister of the state clearly said, Jayalalitha ma'am said that compensation cess has to be provided in priority. Otherwise, we will not approve the GST. So Compensation Act came, GST Compensation Act came, but there is a delay in giving the compensation. So understand the larger perspective of it. So here, reducing the stamp duty can never happen by the government for whatever may be the incentive. All that they are trying to say, we are saying reduce it for women, but the states are not doing. You got it? Right. Last thing is energy security. They're trying to, last year they announced about solar alliance, that is rooftop solar. Where is that announcement? Why is that announcement not finding a place? Why is that announcement not finding a place? There should be a continuity of the policy. போன வருஷம் ஒன்னு சொன்னீங்க, இந்த வருஷம் ஒன்னு சொல்றீங்க, அடுத்த வருஷம் வேற ஒன்னு சொல்வீங்க. அந்த ஸ்கீம் வந்ததா இல்லையா? Priority மாத்திக்கிட்டே இருக்கீங்க. கரெக்ட்டா? You change, keep. There should be one running scheme for which you should keep on incentivizing. So the rooftop solar is an excellent plan for renewable energy, to India becoming a leader in the renewable energy. But they announced in the last time, but there is no allocation in the current budget. Instead of that, they are talking about AUSC, thermal power plant, initiate nuclear energy, energy audit. So these are some of the announcements. I give 0 for this allocation of energy security. Last two items which I'll highlight and then close and then take some few questions is infrastructure. For infrastructure, there is an allocation of 11 lakh 11,000 1100 and okay 11 11 11 1111, that is 11 lakh 11,111 infrastructure out of 48 lakh crores. How much is allocated for infrastructure? Okay, this 11 lakh crores, when they allotted roughly about 11 lakh crores, they are talking about multiplier effect. What is this multiplier effect? If you develop infrastructure, employment opportunity will increase. Yes, answer is yes, it will have a multiplier effect, because you use banking channels to pay them, they will go and save, then multiple activity happens because of that. 11 lakh crore if you plow, it will actually become 3 times in the economy. So that's the reason they have allotted 11 lakh crore, which is about 3.4% of the GDP. And there is some allocation for under infrastructure, tourism also. Again, slightly there is a support to the Bihar, like Nalanda as a tourist center, and there is slight support structure provided to Bihar to make it as a thing. Now, good that Nalanda is being recognized. Innovation, research and development, where government is trying to provide incentive for 1,000 crore allocation for space economy. Now we are actually, the buzzword is space now. I'm sure in another 10 years, there is many more development that's going to happen in the space sector. One of the sector that need to be looked upon by the youths who are trying to be in the future technology. Space economy. Even space laws are also evolving now. So this space, as of now, it is a buzzword, that's all. But it could be the future technology, where many more innovations will happen. What will unfold in the days to come, we have to wait and watch. For which the government tries to provide 1,000, whether it will be spent. First, when they say space capital, whether venture capital, whoever is working in space technology probably might get this fund and then get the due share for the development of the respective. So accordingly, infrastructure, I would give about 7 marks out of 10. Priorities, because what I look at, why 3 marks less is because rural infrastructure is key. In many of the villages in the country today, you don't even have water access and electricity. Are you aware of it? So when you lack basic infrastructure, you all talk about Swachh Bharat being, I didn't find the word Swachh Bharat in the current year budget. You take your vehicle from Chennai to Pondicherry. Please show me one good public toilet with a world-class facility. What is this world-class facility? The public toilet. What is a world-class facility? Basic facility is world-class facility. You tell me from Chennai to Pondicherry, one toilet with the basic facility. I classify it as a world-class facility. Do you find that? Answer me no. Are you aware that the government is providing every month an allocation to the petrol bunks to run toilets? Are you aware? But what is the facility in the petrol bunk toilets? Is it usable? So we are talking about space, We are talking about becoming a $5 trillion economy. We're talking about 7% GDP growth, but the basic facilities are lacking, basic infrastructure. So that is the reason I say, when you talk about infrastructure, I'm happy to the extent where you're trying to plow the money to the bridge or the road sector, national highway, but what we are lacking is a basic facility. In fact, more entrepreneurs should come in innovation in this sector. That is public toilets, public infrastructure, and it has to be supported by the government wholeheartedly. I saw in some country where there is a person, there's an entrepreneur who started working on the public toilets. The government was not supporting it. So he used to build public toilets and make the 4 walls as an advertisement walls. So corporates used to advertise. And then he used to make revenue every month. So more than the revenue that he made from the toilet, he made the revenue from the corporates by advertising. Why can't this model be promoted? We have a working model, but why is the government not thinking about it? It's always a question or not. It's not something, it's something that you cannot do. Definitely you can do. But why is it not happening is what all the educated are asking the question. So we have to look at these models, and the government is trying to work on this. Next generation reforms like land record digitization with the GIS mapping, establishment of land registry, survey of map subdivision as per current ownership, linkages to farmers registry, unique land parcel identification number, BHU Aadhaar for all lands, land parcel identification. You buy a land, make it as a parcel and put a plot as a developer. There need to be a separate Aadhaar for the plot. It's not one land that person is buying. He's buying the land out of the parcel. That parcel has to, townships actually. You see high-rise apartment, you will see multiple villas getting promoted. It is not one villa, it is part of the community, correct? So they want to provide BHU Aadhaar. So these are some of the reforms that the government is trying to do. We are coming to the fag end of the discussion. From the tax perspective, there are many more to discuss, but I try to highlight about all the 9 pillars because that is important for all of you. From the tax perspective, middle class people have not been given great incentive, or like in fact disincentive incentive was provided by the present budget, where there are 2 slabs. If you are a salaried employee, you would have known, but anyway, what they try to do is they try to increase the income slab totally because of this. I'm not getting into the details because you are not a chartered accounting crowd or you are not a law crowd, but to understand what the government has done by increasing the income tax slab, but mentioning that they are in the same percentage, they are able to, each individual, if his income is about 8 lakh or 8 lakh above, 5,200 rupees he can save. 5,200 rupees he can save in income tax. Coming to that point. 2. Then, if you are 15 lakhs or above, so I'm not getting into the details, okay? If I have to get into the details, I'm working and math I have. If you are into 15 lakhs or above, then 17,500 rupees is your saving. It is a saving for what? To pay tax. It is saving for what? Whether you spend or invest, it has no relevance. You are paying tax. Let me tell you how is that. You are spending, you got 17,500 rupees. You are saying, let's all go to Taj today, and now this year we saved one day in a year we'll go and spend in Taj. You are eating food and paying GST, yes or no? Okay, now you are deciding 17,500 rupees. I'll invest in mutual fund. I'll invest in fixed deposit. I'll invest. Again, that fixed deposit is taxed. Second time. Again, that mutual fund is taxed. Again, the investment is taxed. Did you understand or not? You already paid income tax. The same money only you are investing. Again, tax is deducted on the same. So tax on what is taxed already, whether you're investing, either you're saying. What the government should have done, to the extent of 20,000 rupees, 70,500 rupees if you invest, that there will be a tax exemption is what you should have told. Then it would have supported at least 70,500 rupees. Solaya maati irukum. Kudukra mari kuduthu eduthiradhu. Mottama kaiyila nikkadhu. Ready? So, இது வந்து ஒரு middle class are not happy. Let me come to corporate. MSME, there is no announcement, only some scheme like cosmetic trends are there. What would have benefited MSME? Straight away saying your MSME, instead of 20% income tax, straight 15% tax rate. No announcement of that kind. So MSMEs are also not happy. Large corporates are happy. I classify large corporates into two: who works with the government, who works for the government, who works by the government. For them, all the allocation in the budget, directly or indirectly, will be beneficial. A pure entrepreneurial, technology-oriented, innovation-oriented has to search in a scheme what benefit comes to them, like employment, internship, skill orientation, and all. The last segment, which is a very important thing, is abolishing angel tax. You have angel tax is a concept where you have shares and there is an FMB, you sell and there is an excess that you get, which was taxed earlier. Now they have abolished it, which is a long pending due. Very interesting thing is reducing the corporate rate tax for foreign company, 40% to 35%. I was in discussion with one important official of the income tax. We were all in budget session together. I was presenting the budget. He has been in administration, on tax administration, for more than 30 years. Holding a senior position, we were discussing about the profile of the foreign company. Most of the foreign company, you go and check, they'll be reporting losses in India. Reporting losses in India. And mostly their efforts is to shift their profits to other country, erode their base to the other country. To check that, there is a mechanism called transfer pricing under the tax act, Income Tax Act 1961. But here, the point to be noted here is 40% to 35%, it is benefiting some of the top foreign company who are trying to pay tax. But is this need of the hour? That is where I wanted to highlight about something very unique which has not come in papers also. Which is the last point, last thing that I wanted to highlight all of you. It's a global geopolitical issue. In 2026 January, there's going to be an important announcement from the European Union called Carbon Border Adjustment Tax. Through a carbon border adjustment mechanism. These are two things you should remember. India's export to Europe is $8.5 billion. India's export to Europe is $8.5 billion. My dear friends, if this export is, if you ask me question number one, sir, what big deal? Whether exports illame nama paathukalam naattu sila ideological people சொல்லுவாங்க. Export இருந்தா நம்ம நாட்டு நம்ம பாத்துக்கலாம். சும்மா only you can say like that. We are now in a globalized economy. There are people who are still against globalization. Are you aware? Are you aware? Who are all ideological people who support the certain parties in the country. They are against the globalization. Self-reliance of the country is important. But at the same time, you cannot avoid liberalization, globalization. We are compliant with Paris Agreement. But your friends who are all planning to be in the administration here, future aspirants of the administration, you all must be aware India is a signatory to many of the international cooperation. Here we have a Paris Agreement. India is now not violating. The same Europe who entered into Paris Agreement is trying to violate. In 2026, when carbon border adjustment tax is going to come, $8.5 billion export is at stake. Where we thought only Europe is going against the Paris Agreement, but whereas US and UK is also trying to go against the Paris Agreement. Now, what is Paris Agreement? I would require 2 hours to speak. But Paris Agreement as such is a concept where it's a cooperation, international cooperation. Here, if 8.5 billion, what is the crux of the issue? It says energy intensive products coming from India or developing nation will have carbon border adjustment tax. Why does a country import? Why does consumers in other country or businesses in other country import from developing country? Primarily because of the cost effectiveness. Primarily because of the cost effectiveness. Why in developing country cost effectiveness? Because there is no green cost. There is no green cost. You go to Tirupur. How many of them are from Tirupur? Let me give a localized example to a global example. Tirupur is a place in Tamil Nadu where knitwear, it's a hub of the knitwear. We are all proud that knitwear industry has got developed in Tirupur, but essentially what European countries have done is they shifted the green cost to India. It's very simple. In the whole world, anyway, it's going to affect the climate. Instead of affecting me immediately, I pushed it to India. You got the point? For which they incentivize the export. Suddenly, the Europe becomes aware. From 2026 onwards, the green cost the carbon border tax adjustment is going to play a major role in deciding whether to import or not. Now, what is the counter that India is trying to do is on Europe is on one side. So now Asia cannot be divided. So they're going in hand in glove with China now. India is going with China plus strategy. This China plus strategy, until last year, if you've seen, the Union government was against Chinese investment. There are in fact law enforcement agencies where Chinese investments have come. Enforcement Directorate used to go and search it. Now, they are coming out subtly. These are all diplomatic messages in the, I'm just trying to give you one gist of it. I'm trying to map the entire scene of the global developments. You cannot find this linkage anywhere. Only you have to understand the global developments. Then only you can articulate about it. So China plus strategy, where Indian government is saying, instead of we importing from you, please come to India, set up your company. Set up your. Now, what happened to Atmanirbhar Bharat? What happened to Make in India? Make in India will be a tag in a product that everything will be Chinese inside. Like Micromax Mobile. Micromax Mobile. So here, government's change in policy with pro-China is now questioned by its own ideological wing. Why? Pro-China policy is being coming in, China plus strategy. I'll be the first to oppose. Because we have a talent here, it could take time, where we can partner with the Western country to collaborate in India for Assemble India. There was a scheme brought by the country, government, before 3 years in the budget called Assemble India. When Trump was there as a US president. When Trump was there, this was the mantra, Assemble India. Trump sanctioned China. Then India said, Assemble India. It could have brought European countries to India. Unfortunately, China plus strategy at this moment, when US election is happening, questions what is the intention of the government. All that I pray, Trump oriented power has to come, so that over a period of time, to counter European issue, to counter CABT, carbon border adjustment tax, which will increase the cost for India and it will become incentivize the export in Europe, is a greater challenge for the entrepreneurs in India. $8.5 billion is a huge money India cannot afford to lose. So the solution here is with the Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi. The greater challenge lies with him, where he has to go and negotiate with the international agreements and also with the European Union to see to that India is somehow exempted diplomatically from carbon border adjustment tax by using some factors. So here is a greater challenge for the Prime Minister. $8.5 billion affects not just micro, small and medium enterprises, even those companies who are top companies gets affected. In fact, they are affected in priority. So that then that will become the priority of the government. So here is a greater challenge for which government says, I am reducing tax rate for foreign company. So that tomorrow, if tax are not welcomed by the European Union, at least we can have their manufacturing units here to an extent to say European companies which are having subsidiary in India, manufacturing products are exempted because they are fossil fuel conscious. This is the word I will try to bring. Hello. So that products have global mobility into the markets. So for the first step is to reduce the tax rate, which they have done. So the European companies who are going to establish shops in India will expect more exemption and deduction. Honorable late Sri Arun Jaitley in 2015 said, we will not have retrospective amendment. And foreign companies were never incentivized in the past 10 years. You are finding some tilt in the government policy where they started incentivizing the foreign company because to counter CABT. This is the story of the tax rate getting reduced for foreign companies. My dear friends, I try to highlight most of the issues. I can speak number of hours trying to enlighten all of you. But all that I did is just a few basic things which I told you. Here is an opportunity for you to go through the budget and also to ensure what are the allocation for respective ministries. What I didn't cover is detailed aspect of other corporate tax benefits and benefits that the government has provided. We have 90% more in the budget, which I never discussed. Don't get admired, don't get moved by the understanding. It's only a basic thing that you have understood. So what you have to understand as a policymaker and administrator, step one, how the budget document, what does it contain? Details. How is it computed? How the numbers are arrived? What is the exercise that the finance ministry does for 1 year? Second, budgets are allocated. Where is the actuals? Where is the actuals? What is the exact figures that are spent? Last year, the government allocated about 60,000 crore for the education. Are you aware that they are not able to spend? Mandrega, what happened for the allocation in the current year? Are they going to abolish? So, with these questions, I try to close the union budget 2024-25. I'm very sure that you people who have come from the rural parts, only when the budget is understood by the poor people in the village, the budget can reach the common man. Until time, people like me and you only can decode it. So thank you for this opportunity, and I'm very sure that this session was useful for all of you. Thank you. And any questions I can take up here and there. Any questions? Any questions?
15,000 crore for Andhra Pradesh was given as a loan.
Yeah.
Sir, why can't the government give them as any incentive for the violation?
15,000 allocation is an incentive only.
Anyway, it's a loan only, sir.
That's fine. That loan also they are not able to get. You got it? Yeah. By government of India giving loan, they get an opportunity to borrow from multilateral institutions abroad, like World Bank. The first step is the contribution by the central government. After that contribution, that becomes a basis for applying for loan for the multilateral institutions. So for that only they are trying to help. First step loan கொடுத்தாதான் இன்னொரு இன்ஸ்டிடியூஷன்ல வாங்க முடியும். சென்ட்ரல் கவர்மெண்டே கொடுக்கறதுனால வேர்ல்ட் பேங்க், IMF இந்த மாதிரி குளோபல் ஆர்கனைசேஷன் கிட்ட போறதுக்கு ஆந்திர பிரதேஷ்க்கு ஒரு வாய்ப்பு கிடைச்சது. அதுக்கு தான் அது. Yeah, indexation. See, whenever you buy a land and sell, there was index property. You get an indexation where they try to inflation mapped with the indexation, where you increase the price so that your tax outflow comes down. What they have done, this is a perennial, this was existing for a long time. Unfortunately, in the current year budget, they removed the indexation. Indirectly, they are discouraging investment in the real estate. So, because of which, there will be tilt in the investment in the mutual funds and all the financial instruments. So, this is not a welcome sign. At the end of the day, real estate property, somebody buys. Please listen. Please listen. I know who is actually listening, who is not listening. But I don't want to pinpoint. This is a larger value I can provide to the crowd. If you have something to joke around, I have no problem, but don't do it in my class. I hope you can understand, right? I've taken a lot of efforts in coming and delivering. I have to rush up for other client meetings now. So please understand the value I get on your table. You can't get this anywhere. Because I have the practice side of it. I know the law. I have qualified my CA, then became a lawyer. I know the constitution. I know the government policy. I know the administration, and then try to present it to you, which is very rare. So please make use of the last point also, which could be a savior for your examination, for which you are struggling. So here indexation benefit will be definitely a question which is affecting the public. So here the indexation is removed. Due to that, what happens? The old price in which you bought, you did not give the increase in price. See, ஒரு இடத்த விக்கிறீங்க 100 ரூபாய்க்கு, நீங்க வாங்கும் போது அது 60 ரூபாய். ஆனா இண்டெக்ஸேஷன் வழியா என்ன பண்ணுவீங்கன்னா 80 ரூபாய் ஆக்கி 100 ரூபாய் மைனஸ் 80 ரூபாய்க்கு டாக்ஸ் கட்டுவீங்க 20 rupeesக்கு. இந்த இண்டெக்ஸேஷன் எடுத்ததுனால என்ன ஆகும்னா அந்த பழைய பிரைஸ்க்கு நீங்க ஏத்த மாட்டீங்க. 100 ரூபாய் 100 rupees, old price that you bought is 60 rupees, that 40 rupees gets taxed. Because of this, ரியல் எஸ்டேட் வந்து டிஸ்கரேஜ் பண்றாங்க கவர்மெண்ட் இன்டைரக்டா. அப்ப என்ன என்கரேஜ் பண்றாங்க? ஒரு யூத்தா நீங்க புரிஞ்சுக்கிறீங்க. நீங்க என்ன பண்ணுவீங்க? சரிடா போயிட்டு நம்ம மியூச்சுவல் ஃபண்ட்ல போடலாம், பிக்ஸ்ட் டெபாசிட்ல போடலாம்னு போடுவீங்க. இது ஒரு காரணமா இருந்துட்டு இருந்தது. எது? குளோபலா மிடில் கிளாஸையும் ரியல் எஸ்டேட்டையும் என்கரேஜ் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காங்க. சில நாட்டுல எல்லாம் in some of the countries there is no concept of capital gains at all. You are discouraging the capital gains also you brought in India. I am ready to pay capital gains. Now you remove indexation also. As a government, you are trying to discourage me in investment in real estate, which is the mode for urbanization. It is a mode for urbanization. So the impetus for urbanization is tax incentive. You sell one property, buy another property, no tax. The capital gains what you enjoy will not be taxed. That is the incentive for selling the property. The entire trade of real estate happens because you incentivize the trade. But you suddenly come and disincentivize or discourage, then real estate gets affected. Now, what is the intention of the government? Suddenly they come out with a tweet in the income tax department. Appreciation on the 172% மேல இல்லனா இண்டெக்ஸேஷன் தேவையில்லைன்ற மாதிரி ஏதோ ஒரு ஜஸ்டிபிகேஷன் கொடுக்குறாங்க. எனக்கே புரியல இதெல்லாம் இவ்வளவு டெக்னிக்கல் எதுக்கு? தேவையே இல்லையே. ஒரு காமன் மிடில் கிளாஸ் பீப்புளுக்கு என்ன ஆஸ்பிரேஷன் பா? என்ன ஆஸ்பிரேஷன் மை டியர் ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ்? நீங்க எல்லாம் இருக்கீங்க, ஒரு எம்ப்ளாய்மெண்ட் போறோம்னு நினைக்கிறோம். ஈவன் அப்பா அம்மா வீடு வச்சிருந்தாலும் ஒரு வீடு வாங்கணும், ஒரு கார் வாங்கணும், ஒரு சஃபிஷியண்டா ஒரு சின்ன ஒரு 1000 square feet 1000 பேசிக் ஆஸ்பிரேஷன். தப்பா அது? இஸ் இட் ராங்? அது ஒரு சமயம் அந்த பழசாயிடுச்சு அந்த வீடை வித்துட்டு you go and buy another new apartment or house. That property you bought for 60 rupees, 100 rupees you are selling, 40 rupees gets taxed now. Indexation இருந்திருந்தா ஒரு அந்த வேல்யூ வந்து டீம்டா 80 ஆகி 100க்கு ஃபிக்ஸ் பண்ணி 20 rupees தான் டாக்ஸ் ஆயிருக்கும். இல்ல அந்த 20 rupees டாக்ஸ் ஆகாது எக்ஸம்ஷன் மாடல்ல. சோ இதுதான் இஷ்யூ as a larger level. So why the government is not able to understand the logic behind middle class, or are they pretending to? அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு கொஸ்டின் மார்க்கா தான் இருந்துட்டு இருக்கு. ஸோ அதனால டோன்ட் கெட் இன் டு த ப்ரோ அண்ட் கான்ஸ் ஆஃப் தி, அதாவது ஐடியாலஜிக்கல் ஆஸ்பெக்ட் ஆஃப் எனி கவர்மெண்ட். அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் ஆஸ் இட் இஸ், வெதர் இட் இஸ் அஃபெக்டிங் யூ, வெதர் இட் இஸ் அஃபெக்டிங் யூ. ஸோ then analyze from that perspective, then you will understand the larger implication of it. I hope this question answer is to an extent. There are implications to it. அல்ல அது வந்து ஒண்ணு இல்ல, அந்த ஷார்ட் டேர்ம் கேபிட்டல் கெயின் அதான் இதெல்லாம் டீடைல்ஸ் which requires more 15-20 minutes of every concept. As of now I presented the holistic picture of it. Taxation aspect, maybe if you request the academy, definitely I'll come and discuss only about taxation in a way you will understand. So I'll look at it whether I can do it for all of you if you are going to attend it. That will be definitely useful for all of you. Thank you so much, and I look forward to meeting you all shortly. Thank you.